until 2011 that I actually Googled it, and then I put all the pieces together in my head. But I realized that Bitcoin was the best form of money that the world has ever seen, and that it can empower every single human being on the planet to be able to interact financially with every other human being on the planet without having to get permission from any government or bank or corporation. And as a voluntarist or a libertarian, of course, that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So I couldn't help but get involved full time to start promoting it. So a number of the ways I did that is my company, Memory Dealers, became the first company of any substance to actually start accepting Bitcoin as payments. I started paying for national radio ads on your show for years and years and years now, promoting Bitcoin. I did billboards. I did everything I could think of to promote Bitcoin. I set up the first website where you could buy hundreds of thousands of items for Bitcoin at cheaper than Amazon or Newegg or Overstock years before any of those other companies started accepting Bitcoin. And I think my message has been the same the entire way through. My message has been this is a technology that can empower every human being on the planet to transact with anybody else without permission. And initially, it was basically for free. And one of the biggest questions I had when I first heard about Bitcoin on your show was, can this scale so that everybody on the planet can use it? And Satoshi Nakamoto, the inventor of Bitcoin, was very, very clear. And he laid out the math that all you have to do to allow every human being on the planet to be able to use Bitcoin is just let the block size continue to grow as more and more people start to use it. You'll have this cheap, almost free transaction platform for the entire world. But what happened is that people that came into Bitcoin much, much later, for example, Adam Back, the CEO of Blockstream, which is another company involved in this space, he had a personal invitation from Satoshi to get involved in Bitcoin before it even launched. Instead of getting involved, he emailed back Satoshi about why it would never work and didn't get involved in any way until the Bitcoin price was around $1,000 in 2013. And he didn't own a single Bitcoin up until that point. And so this guy may be an excellent mathematician or cryptographer, but he had absolutely no understanding as to why Bitcoin was to become useful as money. So this guy and his company and a whole bunch of people that think like him, they've decided that Bitcoin can't possibly scale for everybody to be able to use it on chain. And so instead of allowing Bitcoin to scale in the way in which Satoshi Nakamoto outlined from day one, they've decided they want to convert it into a settlement layer where people do all sorts of transactions off of Bitcoin and then just settle back to the Bitcoin blockchain. And actual Bitcoin transactions cost tens or 20 or even $100 per. And I've heard some of them say that they're just fine if it costs $1,000 to do a single Bitcoin transaction on chain. But that's just insane. As we've seen over the last few months, when the Bitcoin blocks became full, everyone has to bid against each other for space within those blocks. And we saw the Bitcoin fees go from less than a penny when all of us on this show first got involved.
That's right.
To now being several dollars each, sometimes tens of dollars each. And we've seen Bitcoin's market share.
I've seen it. That's no joke. I'm a regular user of Bitcoin, and I've seen the fees hitting $2, $3 regularly, and I have seen them higher than that over the last few months. They've gone down recently. And there's some speculation as to why that happened. It seemed to coincide with this agreement at the New York agreement, where the different sides that had been fighting over how to scale Bitcoin, it kind of came to and made a consensus. It was after that it seemed to be around the same time that the number of transactions that have been sort of sent into the network sort of started dropping very strangely. But it's still very high. The fees are still much higher than they used to be. As you said, no more than usually than 1 or 2 cents to send any amount, basically, of Bitcoin, just as recently as a couple, 2 or 3 years ago. And now it's still regularly as much as 30 to 50 cents, for a regular priority transaction these days. So it's down from the peak of, say, $2 or $3 per transaction at the median to like maybe 50 cents to $1. Today, but still, that's still going to kill off all the microtransactions. It has killed off all the microtransactions. The ability to, give a few cents of a Bitcoin tip to somebody online. Nobody can do that stuff anymore.
So one of the first ways that I helped to spread Bitcoin actually was advertising it on your show. You guys had me on for a couple of hours to explain Bitcoin back in 2011. And I told everybody to go to your Facebook page, and I would give them $1 worth of Bitcoin. And, or it might have even been a whole Bitcoin back then, actually. And I know lots and lots of people did, but today the fees would be too high to do something like that. And
Right.
when I was giving away the whole Bitcoins, they were like $2 or $3 each at that point. So
Right.
It wasn't quite as big a deal as it is now. But it's just it's not only undermining microtransactions, it's undermining normal transactions. So I think you mentioned that there's a restaurant of some sort there in Keene that accepts Bitcoin, but if you have to pay an extra $1 or $2 to buy something, people aren't going to use it.
Right. Hamburger's
anymore.
Expensive enough. And then you tack on another extra $1 or $2, and you're like, why am I not just paying in U.S. dollars? And I think a lot of people are probably asking, why doesn't somebody just pay in U.S. dollars anyway? What do they want Bitcoin for?
Well, Bitcoin's money that can't be inflated or controlled by the government. As most of the listeners of your show probably know, the government can print as much money as they want at any time for any reason. And oftentimes they use that money for horrible reasons, to drop bombs on people around the world or lock peaceful people in prison for having a plant that wasn't approved by some politician far away. That's just nonsense. Whereas if you use Bitcoin, you can bypass all of their control and all of their ability to manipulate the economy and all of their ability to do these bad things. So if you're a peace-loving individual, you should absolutely love Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general, for that matter, because it undermines the power of the state to control the economy and to control peaceful people.
Yeah, that's a great reason to use it. And it also does exactly what it, says it's going to do. It provides people with secure transactions globally in a relatively short period of time. Now, these fees that have been bid up recently have been a result of the fact that the Bitcoin network is full. And so the Bitcoiners have been arguing for a couple of years over how to fix this problem of this full Bitcoin network. And what we're going to see happen coming up here in just a couple of days, August 1st or July 31st, depending on what time zone you're in, there's going to be a potential fork of Bitcoin. And that this situation has been very fluid and has changed since the last time we talked to you, Roger. So if you've got time to stick with us, let's keep this conversation going, yes?
You got it.
More with Roger Ver from Bitcoin.com. We'll continue in moments. Live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live, 855 450 free if you want to join us.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic at Dinovite.
This year, whenever you order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog, we'll send you a free sample of one of the other doggy things we make.
Like Lico Chops, Super Mega Fish Oil, or Doggo Suds Shampoo.
What's on your dog's wish list?
We'll offer a different freebie each week at Dinovite.com.
Don't you just love the sound of healthy, happy dogs?
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
Ew, get the stinky dog away from me.
DINOVITE.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
Everything we tried failed except the Dinovite. DINOVITE.com.
You're fired.
According to the Small Business Administration, 75% of small businesses plan to eliminate jobs or reduce workers' hours to part-time.
You're fired.
According to Gallup, the unemployment rate recently jumped to nearly 9%, and the underemployment rate hit a staggering 17.9%.
You're fired.
1 out of 3 young adults and 1 out of 2 recent college graduates are underemployed. Hello, I'm Keith Abel, a pharmacist and a home business entrepreneur. In 2011, I became one of those statistics myself. Instead of looking for another job in corporate America, I joined Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. We're creating steady incomes for ourselves and would like to show you how to do the same. If you want to supplement your current income, replace your income, so you don't have to become one of the statistics, then give me a call toll-free at 866-257-3105, 866-257-3105.
You're fired.
Don't wait till you hear those words. Start creating an extra income today. 866-257-3105.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeen.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up whatever you want, although we're talking about the imminent, interesting situation that has developed around Bitcoin, where coming up on either Monday or Tuesday, the 31st or the 1st, depending on which time zone you're in, there's going to be a potential fork that is starting to look more like a very realistic fork, something that is seems almost certain to occur at this point. There was a lot of uncertainty just a matter of weeks ago, and we've been discussing this situation as it's been developing. And thanks to the folks over at Bitcoin.com for doing just a great job of covering this situation, this unprecedented forking opportunity for Bitcoin, where Bitcoin can essentially double, if you will, or split into two, where if you have Bitcoin right now, so if you have, let's say, I don't know, you got half a Bitcoin right now, if you're holding that Bitcoin in what's called a non-custodial wallet, which means that you control the private keys to the wallet, wallets like Jaxx, for instance, Mycelium, Airbits, pretty much all the major...
Bitcoin.com wallet?
Yes, thank you. Roger's here with us, Roger Veer from Bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com just launched their wallet fairly recently. What, just a few weeks old? How new is that thing?
Yeah, probably 2 or 3 weeks now, and it's available for every platform. And you hold your own Bitcoins on your own device.
That's correct. And then on the forking day, when this user-activated hard fork, which we'll talk about in a moment, forks potentially Bitcoin, you will then, if you had half a Bitcoin before that point, you'll have half a Bitcoin after that point, and you'll have half of what's going to be called Bitcoin Cash, which is essentially going to be a new competitor, also calling itself Bitcoin. And yes, that seems like it could introduce some confusion into the marketplace. But Roger, you're pretty happy about this happening, right?
I'm really happy about this happening. There's been this civil war going on for several years within Bitcoin, and both sides have these irreconcilable differences. One side they literally and openly say they want Bitcoin transactions to be slow and expensive and easy to double spend. And then there's people on my side of the debate that want the original Bitcoin that was laid out by Satoshi, in which transactions are fast and cheap and almost impossible to double spend. And these two sides have these conflicting visions. And this fork that's going to happen on August 1st, it's basically like both sides they're getting a divorce, or they're getting the version of Bitcoin, the exact version of Bitcoin that they want and like and appreciate, and everybody gets to be happy. And we're seeing that already. Bitcoin's had a run-up in price. You mentioned that the price of Bitcoin is about...
You'd think everybody would be happy, but it doesn't sound like they're happy.
It doesn't seem that way. I mean, before you go on, Roger, what about these user-activated soft fork people? This was the original group. So there's two groups aside from the SegWit 2x folks. So there's the agreement that people came to, the majority of the hash. The hash rate, that's the mining rate of the people out there mining Bitcoin. The 83% supermajority of the miners came to this agreement. Lots of major Bitcoin-related companies agreed to this. You were one of the signers of this agreement that happened in New York City back in late May for the so-called SegWit 2x, which would combine both of the proposed fixes for Bitcoin into one. And so the user-activated soft fork people were the people who said, well, we really think the segregated witness, a.k.a. SegWit, is the way. And then there's these other folks, the user-activated hard fork people, who say, well, a bigger block size is the way. And that's what you've been supporting very heavily, Roger, is the idea that just increasing this technical aspect called the block size would allow for more transactions per second or per minute to be processed by the network. Both of those are being combined together, but aren't the user-activated soft fork people, the guys who first threatened to fork Bitcoin on August 1st, aren't they going to be upset about the 2x part of the SegWit 2x, where the block size will supposedly be doubling from 1 megabyte to 2, a few months down the line? Is it possible that that SegWit 2x thing could fall apart, or that the user-activated soft fork people may go ahead and try to fork Bitcoin anyway on August 1st? What do you think?
So I think that there's actually a decent likelihood that there will wind up being 3 versions of Bitcoin for some period of time. On August 1st, almost for sure, there's going to be 2 versions of Bitcoin. There will be Bitcoin Legacy or Blockstream Bitcoin, and then there will be Bitcoin Cash, which is the big block version of Bitcoin. But then later on, the SegWit 2x is supposed to happen as well, which will be the Bitcoin Legacy chain is supposed to fork into having 2 megabyte blocks. But the user-activated soft fork people and these people that think 1 megabyte blocks are fine forever, they will do their absolute best to block that. So there's a really good chance that Bitcoin will split again at that point into a 2 megabyte version of Bitcoin with SegWit and a 1 megabyte version of Bitcoin with SegWit, and then we'll continue to have the Bitcoin Cash version of Bitcoin with bigger blocks and no SegWit attached. So there's a potential for 3 different versions of Bitcoin. But again, there's 1,000 different altcoins already out there where people can choose the one that's most useful to them. It's the same with Bitcoin. People can choose the version of Bitcoin that's most useful to them and most in line with what they need and want out of a cryptocurrency. And I found a really, really common reoccurring theme with people on the small block side of this debate. And that reoccurring theme is that they don't use Bitcoin. By their own admission, they barely own any Bitcoin. They hardly ever use it. Tone Vase, one of the loudest user-activated soft fork people, openly said when I had a debate in Anarchapulco with him previously, he said he's not a Bitcoin user, yet he's spending all day making social media things, complaining about the user-activated soft fork and this and that. And by his own admission, he's not a Bitcoin user. So if you're not a Bitcoin user, then
why do they care?
What should you care?
Why would he care? Why does anyone care?
That's a great question. But for myself, I use Bitcoin more times than I can count every single day. And I've watched it become less and less useful because of these full blocks and high fees that are an intentional part of the design by these small block people. They literally want Bitcoin to be slow and have high fees.
So I look at Facebook enough during the day. I'm tuned in to your account. I got you like in a favorite or something like that. So I see every time you post. I look at it, and there are these people that are just waiting for you to post to say, the meanest, the meanest things about, I don't even, they're not convincing me. I don't know what there is. I don't even know if what they're trying to convince anyone of. And as a matter of fact, it's so confusing, this complaint, but it appears as though, anything at this point, anything you do is just bad. I don't even understand, what world these folks
Roger
are looking
Ver,
for.
Satan spawn.
Right. Now he's Bitcoin Satan.
Yeah, I don't want to go too deep down a conspiracy hole here, but almost all of these people that are following my every move on the internet and posting all these horrible things about me, I don't know any of them. I've never heard of any of them. None of my friends actually know them. I can count on one hand the number of people that I actually know that say bad things like that I'm trying to kill Bitcoin or destroy Bitcoin. And anybody who's been around Bitcoin for any reasonable amount of time knows that I'm not trying to destroy or kill Bitcoin. My message has been consistent from day one. I want to use Bitcoin to liberate every human being on the planet from the control of central banks and governments. That's my goal with Bitcoin when I first got involved, and that's still my goal today.
Yeah, so I've tried in a couple of occasions to have conversations with these people to have them explain, because they must, if they're spending this kind of time, right, they must have a point. And
it's like talking to a Stop Free Keener or something like that.
I don't even know what they're saying. Like in one case, they appear not to even understand what Bitcoin is.
Oh my.
I'm like,
and they're probably not using Bitcoin themselves either, because if they were, they'd know there's a problem.
All right, Roger, I know I didn't ask you how much time you had before we started the interview. Do you have time for more?
Yeah, I set aside my morning for you guys. So no problem.
That's awesome. Roger Veer here from Bitcoin.com. We're going to continue. If you've got a question for him, maybe you're new to all of this. You probably are. Maybe you want to ask it. You're welcome to join us here. 855-450-FREE like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Tyler, time to go for our family walk.
Just let me nap a little longer.
You promised we'd get more active.
I know. How come you're so ready to go?
It's Superberry's Aronia berries.
Aronia what?
Aronia berries from superberries.com. They're known for having one of the highest levels of antioxidants that helps with overall wellness.
Where'd you get them?
I ordered them from superberries.com/radio, and right now we can get a free smoothie recipe book with our order. Plus, we can save $4 at checkout.
I can't wait to try them. I'll get the dog.
I'll get the kids.
Choose health. Eat purple. Superberries.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free. Bring up anything you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about the upcoming potential, I would say high potential, for a fork in the Bitcoin blockchain. For the first time, there will likely be 2 Bitcoins when the dust settles sometime on August 1st, just days from now. So one of the most important questions is, what do you do to prepare yourself? And we'll talk about that coming up. We got Roger Ver with us on the line here from Bitcoin.com. He is in Tokyo, where it is bright and early in the morning over there. Thanks for being with us and continuing the discussion here, Roger. We actually have a call on the line. We're going to get to that here in a moment. But I do want to let our listeners know that the good news about the Jaxx wallet, they have announced, I don't know if you caught the wind of this, Roger, but Jaxx has announced as of today that they will be supporting the upcoming fork of Bitcoin Cash in the Jaxx wallet. They may not have it implemented in time for the forking day, but they are working on getting that implemented. So our listeners who have their Bitcoin in Jaxx, as long as you're not in an urgent rush to access the Bitcoin Cash, they will be making it easy for you to get access to that probably in the coming days or week or so. So that's good news. Jaxx is the official wallet of Free Talk Live. JAXX.io is where you can go to get it. It was created by Anthony DiOrio, who was actually on our show last night talking in detail also about what we've got coming up here in the Bitcoin world in the next couple of days. And he made it easy to back up your wallet and recover your funds with Jaxx. Jaxx is striving to give you command over your digital life, coins, contracts, currencies, identity, and more. It's your digital command center in the palm of your hand. It's Jaxx, the official wallet of Free Talk Live at JAXX.io. Let's go to the calls here. Roger Ver is with us from Bitcoin.com. The big Bitcoin split day coming up August 1st or July 31st, depending on your time zone. Alan, you're on in Indiana listening to WIBC. You're on with Roger Ver.
Well, hi. I appreciate you taking my call, and I just got in the vehicle, so maybe you've covered this, and if you have, I apologize. But I've never understood how Bitcoins were originally financed. Why would a person take something that's not legal tender in the beginning? How did it get financed, and why would people accept it as the currency in exchange for products or services? I've never understood how it originally became an alternate currency. It's just like if I created something called Bambaloo Bucks or something like that, who would take my Bambaloo Bucks for a car or a book or whatever?
Sure.
Maybe I'm just a little thick, but I just never have understood that.
Good question. Roger, you want to field that one?
Sure. So Bitcoin has all the characteristics that make it useful as money. So Bitcoin is useful and scarce. Anything that's useful and scarce will have a price. And the things that make Bitcoin useful is that there's a limited supply. You can teleport it anywhere in the world instantly just like that. Nobody can block you from transferring it to or from anyone in the world just like that. And that gives it it's easily identifiable. You can't counterfeit it. It has all these characteristics that make it incredibly useful as money. So just like gold and silver long, long ago, because it has characteristics that make it useful as money, people just naturally started to use it as money. And then it grew and grew and grew from there to where now there's tens of millions of people around the world that are using Bitcoin as money, and more all the time. But the problem with Bitcoin and why there's this civil war going on is that there's a group of people that are, because they don't understand the economic reasons why Bitcoin is useful as money, they've been undermining that. But if you think about it, with a dollar, if you have a dollar bill in your pocket and you want to pay me in Tokyo, there's no easy way to do that. But if you have some Bitcoin on your phone and you want to pay me in Tokyo, you can do that instantly. And up until recently, you could do that basically for free. And you don't have to get permission from a bank. You don't have to get permission from PayPal or a credit card company or anyone at all. And it works just like that, and nothing like that had ever existed ever before Bitcoin. So it was so much more useful than other forms of money available that people just naturally started to use it in commerce. And I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out.
No, not at all.
Well, then I'm going to give it a shot. All right. So currency is like anything. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. Bitcoin isn't its own thing by itself. It's comparable to other currencies. And so Bitcoin allows you to do many things that you can't do with, say, a U.S. dollar. Is that the currency you're used to using?
Yeah.
Yep. So you use U.S. dollars on a regular basis. You find them to be useful. You go to stores, you buy things, you'll go online, you'll use a credit card. But that credit card costs money for the transaction for the merchant. Bitcoin costs less to make that transaction.
Well,
also,
I guess
it
what
allows
it is,
you to
I
send.
know that when dollars are backed by used to be backed by gold and silver until we went off the gold standard,
Mm-hmm.
and then but gold and silver was universally worldwide accepted as legal tender.
Sure.
But so if I gave you $1, you would know that you could get some type of value for that. But when it first started, when the first person created it, there wasn't any knowledge of what a Bitcoin was. So
Right.
how did that person get people to accept it as a
Well, it was a progression.
exchange for product?
It was a progression. Over time, here's what happened. There are people who care a great deal about the fact that the dollar and other currencies around the world are not backed by something of value. The governments can create a whole bunch of these things on their own. Roger, do you care about that?
Of course I care about that.
You care about it. I care about it. Somebody who understands math and programming, this whole group of people throughout the 90s called crypto punks or cypherpunks. I'm not entirely sure what they were. Anyway, they created this idea of an online currency, but they had a trouble with one thing called basically counterfeiting or double spending.
Oh, he just dropped. Thank you for the call.
Bitcoin solved that problem. And, at first, people were creating Bitcoins and they weren't worth anything. Then somebody said, oh, I'd like to get some Bitcoin and I don't want to have to do the work I don't want to turn my computer on and do all the work to get some. I'll just order a couple of pizzas for somebody who has a bunch of them. And I think the number was 10,000 Bitcoins.
That's right.
Today a Bitcoin's worth $2,700. But at the time, it was worth
a
nothing.
fraction
It
of,
was
yeah.
no, it was worth zero until somebody said, "I'm going to send you 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin, and we're going to do a transaction." It was worth zero. At that moment, it became whatever 2 pizzas worth and a 10,000th of that. And then over time, it began to ramp up. When we first heard about Bitcoin in 2011 or 2010. I remember in 2011 in January, it was 27 cents, and then. It was 27 cents. Now it's $2,700.
Yeah.
And so here we are, 6 years later or whatever that is. So I can see why people, they got to wrap their mind around this new currency. But this currency allows us to do something that we're doing right here on the air. So we've got hope.freetalklive.com, which is a charity where, we're helping to build an orphanage in Africa. You're sending a transaction with no costs. How difficult is this? You have to put together an organization, a non-government NGO or whatever to do blah, 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 blah. Not with Bitcoin. All I have to do is find a guy who's has a bunch of orphans over in Africa, and we send him money, and he's building an orphanage. We're at 1 story. We're going to 2 stories. It's working out.
You're sending him money with Bitcoin,
yes,
and you're avoiding all the old money channels of like MoneyGram, Western Union, which if you send it with
forget that and the churches that are involved, the governments that are involved, and everything that was always taking a cut all the way through before this, Bitcoin made this possible. Now he's getting something close to 100% of what is sent.
Yeah, sure. Whereas if you used the old money channels like Western Union and MoneyGram, you would have paid who knows how much in fees to send it over there. You would have had to jump through all kinds of identification hoops. I mean, it's ridiculous. Anybody who's ever used these old money transmission systems knows how much of a hassle they are. Roger Ver is with us here. Roger, stand by. We're going to continue here in moments. He's with us from Bitcoin.com. We're discussing the upcoming Bitcoin fork, which means some interesting things are going to possibly go down coming up here on August 1st. And we're going to continue. 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733.
Did you know if you invested $1,000 in Bitcoin in early 2010, you'd have nearly $35 million right now? $1,000 in Ethereum in 2014 would be over $500,000. Isn't it time you focused on investing in blockchains and cryptos? Get up to speed on a new digital world of Bitcoin, Ethereum, ICOs, and blockchains. Hands-on intensive investment workshops so you can be confident buying, selling, and trading. Don't miss out. Go to 100xinvestors.com. Use code FTL20 for 20% off. That's code FTL20, 20% off. 100xinvestors.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try. Dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
It's a landmark day in the March for Equality here in America. Congress passed the Casinos for Fairness Act today, which gives every mistreated group in America the right to open a casino.
It worked with Native Americans. It will work for the rest of the country. If our society has kept you down, you will get a casino to pull yourselves back up.
Veterans will also have the right to open a casino as a replacement for costlier benefit programs.
I think it'd be nice to have a casino. I mean, I'd rather still be able to walk, but, you know.
While the majority of the country is hailing the Casino Act as a step forward, many Native Americans are objecting to the law.
We are still the most disadvantaged group in America. So all that we ask is that we be allowed to open whorehouses and start legally selling cocaine.
The bill raised the question of whether immigrants should be allowed to own casinos. After much debate, the legislature decided that they would not, but they will be able to sell sliced mango on the street without a vendor license.
This is the Onion News Network.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, live Saturday edition of the program. You can take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. The Bitcoin drama reaching a fever pitch here over the weekend as the various different sides square off and prepare for what may be the first ever Bitcoin fork into 2 Bitcoins, 2 distinct types of Bitcoin that may arise after August 1st. It's Ian and Mark in the studio. You can join us on the radio here with Roger Ver from Bitcoin.com. You can join us toll-free at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. If you want to call on Skype, you can, but you have to wait till we get Roger off the line because we're not going to be able to conference a call on Skype. But we can definitely conference you in if you're on the toll-free lines at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Now, so coming up, Roger, the Bitcoin fork. For listeners that are unfamiliar, Bitcoin is this amazing decentralized cryptocurrency, and people who want to learn more about it. If you're brand new tonight, and this is just this whole conversation, even though we're trying to keep out of the technical weeds, is sending your head spinning, I would recommend dropping by Bitcoin.com when you get a moment. If you're in the car, wait till you get home or to the office, and spend a few minutes there checking out the video that you guys have got a good intro video and some real good basic introductory information as to what Bitcoin is and why it really matters. And a lot of people in the world care about Bitcoin, and that's why they've been fighting so passionately over the direction that it should go in the future. And one of the things about Bitcoin, Roger, is that, as you pointed out, it's decentralized. There's nobody who's in charge. Even the guy who wrote, or gal, we don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, even this anonymous person who wrote Bitcoin and released it to the world back in 2009, that person, they disappeared from the scene, but even if they hadn't disappeared, they wouldn't be in charge of this thing. And while to some extent having centralization makes it easier to make a decision in that some board of directors or CEO or executive can just say, this is what we're doing, and they set the direction for whatever that organization is. In Bitcoin, for changes to be made, there's all these different interest groups that play a role in this happening. How is Bitcoin's governance so different from the traditional money that we're used to?
I guess one thing I'd like to point out in regards to this civil war that's going on within Bitcoin is the other side seems to view decentralization as a goal in and of itself, whereas myself and I think most people on my side of the scaling debate, we view decentralization simply as a tool to achieve censorship resistance with Bitcoin. And the goal isn't decentralization in and of itself. The goal is the censorship resistance. So what makes Bitcoin so useful as money is that it's censorship resistant. You can send money. If the other person can manage to get an internet connection in North Korea, you can send money to or from someone in North Korea or any other country in the world where they manage to have an internet connection. And nobody can block it or stop it or do anything to control that in any way. And the reason it's possible is because of the decentralization, but that decentralization is just the tool that's used to achieve that ability. And I don't think it's a goal in and of itself. So you just need enough decentralization so that Bitcoin is censorship resistant. You don't need an infinite amount of decentralization. You just need enough. And if I had to summarize the disagreements, the other side, I think, just wants decentralization as a goal in and of itself, and they're willing to sacrifice all sorts of usability and all sorts of other aspects of Bitcoin that would make people actually want to be able to use it just so that they can have what they view as more decentralization. But you're going to have way less users. I'd much rather see a world in which you have billions of people using Bitcoin and maybe tens of thousands of full nodes, which is a very small percentage, in a world in which we have 10 million people using Bitcoin and 10,000 full nodes, which is about where we're at today. So.
Now, the other side is proposing this software change called segregated witness. That's the name of the software. And what it does is it moves some Bitcoin transactions off of the Bitcoin blockchain. That's
the distributed ledger that runs the Bitcoin network. Basically.
Right. And that's the way that everybody can see that a transaction's legit. And anybody can see, anybody can go and, audit the ledger anytime they want. And, the ledger is immutable and legit, right? And if they're going to move them off of the ledger, who's going to be auditing this, and how are we going to be able to see these transactions? I have yet to be able to figure this out. Where is the blockchain for segregated witness?
So it makes a separate area for that data. And another interesting point that I just had pointed out to myself recently here is that right in the Bitcoin white paper, it defines what Bitcoin is, and it defines it as a series of digital signatures that keep track of the coins. So what segregated witness does is it takes those digital signatures and basically allows people to discard them. So by the definition of Bitcoin in the Bitcoin white paper, segregated witness Bitcoins are not actually Bitcoins. And maybe segregated witness would work just fine, maybe it wouldn't, but we know for sure that Bitcoin worked excellently for 8 years without segregated witness, and Bitcoin didn't have any problems at all until the blocks were allowed to become full. And it was the blocks becoming full that made the fees become really high, made the transaction confirmation times become really long, and made people start using things other than Bitcoin. I have a guy that I buy Amazon gift codes from that I've been paying in Bitcoin recently because of this craziness. He asked me to start paying him in Dash instead of Bitcoin. And it's not because of anything other than the Bitcoin blocks have become full, and that makes Bitcoin less convenient than other cryptocurrencies.
Right.
And it's insanity to have this full block policy. And that's why I'm so vocal in opposition to it. It's suicide for Bitcoin.
But yet you signed the SegWit 2X agreement that this large group of interest groups came together and agreed to back in late May. Why did you do that? It seems like you don't really support the segregated witness as a solution.
So the company, Bitcoin.com, our representative was there. We agreed to it. We will fully support SegWit 2X. All of those people agreed to that before Bitcoin Cash was really even a thing. On a personal level, I think Bitcoin Cash is much, much truer to Bitcoin.
Does that mean that it will survive, though? I mean, there's like, I guess there'll be two different Bitcoins and they'll have two different names. Which one will carry the crown, I guess, is the question I might ask.
Yeah, there'll be plenty more fighting about which one gets to be called Bitcoin in the future as well.
So it would appear. Now,
well, one of them, I mean, is right now being so these new Bitcoin Cash coins are not available yet. They're not going to be available until after the fork happens, probably on August 1st. But there are people who are already trading on the Bitcoin Cash on what are called futures. And you can see the numbers over at coinmarketcap.com. Just search for BCC or Bitcoin Cash. Right now, the Bitcoin Cash futures are trading at $385 per Bitcoin Cash unit. And that, obviously that can change dramatically between now and August 2nd.
It basically bounces between $300 and $600 depending on when you look.
And it could go up, it could go down. We don't know what's going to happen. But my big question, Roger, is how many people are expressing support for this? I mean, we've seen there's enough support to bring up the futures price to around a fraction of a Bitcoin at about $400 US per each. But on the other hand, all these miners seem to be behind the SegWit 2X proposal, and in order to have Bitcoin Cash succeed, it has to have support of at least some amount of miners. And if enough miners don't get behind it, then isn't there some way for people who are like hostile towards it to attack it and somehow snuff it out of existence? What's that all about?
Yeah, one more piece of drama for Bitcoin. So at the moment, Bitcoin Cash seems to have a lot of support from exchanges around the world. There's exchanges all over the world, including Kraken and Coin and tons of them at this point that are openly saying that they're going to support Bitcoin Cash. And as you said, there's all these futures trading going on it, and it has a lot of volume. It's one of the bigger cryptocurrencies already, just with people trading the futures.
It's a top 5 currency, and it doesn't exist.
Well, it does exist, but it's identical at the moment to Bitcoin.
Okay.
So they're about to split. And you mentioned at the beginning of the show that the current Bitcoin price is $2,700. It's actually $2,700 plus the price of Bitcoin Cash. So you're looking at the Bitcoin price being around $3,000 at the moment. Because at the moment of the split, you'll own both Bitcoin Legacy and Bitcoin Cash, and they both have two separate values at the moment. So I think that's why we've seen the price of Bitcoin run up over the last couple of days, is because a bunch of people are buying it ahead of the split, because they know that after the split they'll own Bitcoin Legacy and Bitcoin Cash at that
Is that
point.
the terminology that's going to be sticking here, Bitcoin Legacy? Because I thought it was Bitcoin Core.
It might stick if we start using it enough. It's whatever people want to call it. So it's just kind of a...
You could call it old Bitcoin,
It's called whatever people agree to call it. So, but... Lots and lots of exchanges are supporting it. Lots and lots of wallets are supporting it. You just announced earlier that the official wallet of Free Talk Live, Jax, is supporting Bitcoin Cash.
Yes.
The Bitcoin.com wallet will have Bitcoin Cash integrated shortly as well.
And that's an indicator that there's support in the market for it. But what about the miners? Because, again, if the miners don't get behind
miners go where the market goes.
Yeah, you would certainly think so. But if the market's at 2,700 on one and 400 on another, what is a realistic expectation for how many of the miners are going to break away from the current Bitcoin? Roger, stick with us. I appreciate your time here. There's more coming up. Hour number 2 is on the way if you want to join us with Roger Ver. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. For an investment of as low as $129, you can have a lifetime mining contract and support the Bitcoin network. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. It's the most profitable pool for miners, paying 120% of the block reward. That's pool.bitcoin.com.
Ooh, get the stinky dog away from me. DINOVITE.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
Everything we tried failed except the Dinovite. DINOVITE.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, July 29th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.75 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,269 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 6.1 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,747. Antiwar.com reports after several months of warning they'd retaliate if the U.S. kept making hostile moves, Russia on Friday did so, seizing a pair of U.S. diplomatic properties and ordering the U.S. Embassy in Russia to reduce its staff to 455 by September. The sites are both in Moscow. Russia is giving the United States until Tuesday, August 1st, to be out of those two sites. This is more or less retaliation for the move in December, in which the Obama administration seized a pair of vacation houses owned by the Russian Embassy in the United States. Russia at the time said they were holding off retaliation, hoping the Trump administration would have a change of heart and return the properties. They did not. The cap of 455 embassy staff appears to be a significant reduction, though exactly how many that amounts to is not totally clear. Russia is not singling out specific people who have to leave, but has complained recently that there are too many U.S. spies in Moscow with embassy credentials. Some are speculating this could expel in excess of 100 embassy staffers and is retaliation to both the U.S. expulsion of Russian embassy staffers back in December and a growing array of U.S. sanctions against Russia. The U.S. Embassy issued a statement saying they had expressed strong disappointment and protest to the Russian government. Since Russia's been complaining about comparable moves from the U.S. side for 7 solid months, it's unlikely Russia is going to be too worried about U.S. disappointment. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports U.S. Representative John Delaney of Maryland announced Friday he is planning to challenge President Donald Trump in the 2020 presidential election. The third-term congressman revealed the news in an op-ed published by the Washington Post. In it, he called for bipartisanship to rise above our broken politics. He wrote, "We are letting critical opportunities to improve the country pass us by, and we are not even talking about the most important thing, the future. The victims of this leadership failure are the good people we've sworn to serve, and we are leaving our country ill-prepared for dramatic changes ahead. The current administration is making us less prosperous and less secure." The centrist Democrat isn't well known outside of his district, which is why he told the Baltimore Sun he's announcing his candidacy and outreach now. Delaney said, "I know what I'm getting into. I want to do all the hard work to earn the people's trust, to listen to them, and I feel like as I run this campaign over the next couple of years, people will get to know me." In the Post, Delaney touted his business acumen. He ran 2 publicly traded companies before the age of 40, and his fresh perspective on technological innovation and globalization. Delaney called for new infrastructure and international tax reform, as well as healthcare, immigration, and education reform with a focus on volunteerism and public service. In light of the announcement, Delaney says he does not plan to run for re-election to the House in 2018. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a sweetened beverage tax will take effect in Chicago on Wednesday after an Illinois judge threw out a lawsuit by retailers that argued the measure was vague and unlawful. Cook County, which includes Chicago and surrounding suburbs, joins a growing number of localities across the United States that have adopted measures to cut consumption of sugary drinks for health reasons, including Seattle and San Francisco. Cook County Circuit Judge Daniel Kubasiak decided in the county's favor on Friday, about a month after he had halted implementation of the penny per ounce tax in response to the lawsuit by the Illinois Retail Merchants Association. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
I just got off the phone with New York. We are the #1 network in the world. And it is an honor to stand before you at such an exciting time. We're stretching boundaries that will irreparably alter people's perception of what they are willing to watch. And our next season will offer tantalizing programming that plays seamlessly into the desire of our viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you just a taste of what ODS has to offer.
You know the rules. Grow a pumpkin or go home. Here's the twist. Only one of you has the real pumpkin seeds.
Are you a pumpkin or not?
You call yourselves pumpkin growers?
I know I didn't get the pumpkin seeds. I dug in there. They're bean sprouts.
Starting a pumpkin alliance. Anyone grows a pumpkin, we split the money.
Get out of my patch.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching here into the second hour of the program. If you want to join us on the radio, you can. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're on with Roger Ver from Bitcoin.com. He's a busy guy. He could probably spend all day if he wanted to battling with trolls on the internet, but thankfully he does all manner of productive things and is one of the biggest promoters of Bitcoin out there. He'd been labeled in the past as Bitcoin Jesus, and I heard you don't really care for that name, Roger, but people still seem to really appreciate the work that you've done for Bitcoin, the money that you've invested, not just in promoting Bitcoin directly, but investing it in various different Bitcoin-related companies and startups, and really doing everything you can to get the word out about it, including buying advertising for it in the very early days and still to today here on Free Talk Live. So thank you for taking time out of your busy morning over there in Tokyo on Sunday. You're actually calling us from the future today.
From the future. And I should thank you guys for being the show that I first heard about Bitcoin on. And Bitcoin's changed my life and changed millions of people's lives around the planet. And thank you guys for being such a wonderful part of that and helping spread the word all over the planet.
Yeah, and things are getting very interesting. For listeners just tuning in, Bitcoin is, of course, the world's first digital cryptocurrency that is decentralized, meaning that there's nobody who's really in charge. There's no central board of bureaucrats who directs, the inflation rate or anything like that. Everything, that's already been set. The amount of Bitcoin that's going to come out over time has been preordained. And it's just a fascinating thing to look into. You can go to bitcoin.com to learn more about the basics. But what we wanted to have you on tonight, Roger, to discuss was this Bitcoin war that has been happening, this geek war behind the scenes.
World War Geek.
That is spilling out into public view at this point, with the potential for Bitcoin to fork coming up on August 1st. Now, for listeners that are new to the idea, what is a Bitcoin fork?
So right now there's basically one version of Bitcoin, but it's going to split into two different versions of Bitcoin that have the entire same history. They share the history, but from August 1st, they will have two different futures. And one version of this Bitcoin will have slow confirmations and high fees and easy double spending. And the Bitcoin Cash version of Bitcoin will be the same as like Bitcoin was in the early days up until very recently. It'll have low fees and fast confirmation times and be very difficult to double spend, which is, for anybody with any business sense, will realize that that's the more useful version of Bitcoin. And so I'm pretty excited about it for that reason.
Some people are pretty angry about Bitcoin Cash. There are certain people who don't want it to come into existence. What is the chances that somebody's going to direct an attack against the upcoming Bitcoin Cash network in its infancy? As I understand it, there's something called a 51% attack, where if somebody controls 51% of the mining power behind a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, that they can do some damage. What is that? What's the 51% attack? Is it something that Bitcoin Cash users should be concerned about?
It's something that all Bitcoin users should be concerned about. But the nice part about trolls on the internet and people that hate things so much, for the most part, they don't have very many resources at their disposal. So even if Bitcoin Cash has 5 or 10% of the global hash rate, to have an additional, 51% of that, that's really, really expensive. We're talking about a lot of money. We're talking about tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, and then a huge amount of electricity as well. So at some point, it's possible that could happen. I think it's unlikely. But that's a risk that people should be aware of. But
now, just to be clear, the people who would be attacking would have to be taking those millions of dollars worth of miners and directing them away from something productive, which would be to be mining their favorite version of Bitcoin. Because they would, if they didn't like Bitcoin Cash, they would want to be mining over on their preferred version of Bitcoin, the original Bitcoin. But they would have to remove their mining power from that coin and focus it to somehow try to damage Bitcoin Cash, thereby losing any opportunity to actually make any money. So they would have to be completely ideologically motivated and willing to spend what they're losing, basically, right, to attack it?
And that's a pretty high bar that I think is unlikely to be met by people. And I guess one other point I'd like to mention is that for all these people out there that are furious about Bitcoin Cash and don't want anybody to be able to use it and maybe want to kill it, those sorts of people are the exact reason that the original Bitcoin was invented, is so that people can bypass people who want to control other people with what type of money that they're using. So if you hate Bitcoin Cash, you're the exact type of person that Bitcoin was invented to bypass.
Yeah, I can't see why people would care that much. It's interesting. I've been watching your Facebook feed where people have been telling you to fork off over and over for months. And
now that we are, they're furious with that too.
and I've seen people. Then I see people. Some guy comes on the page and says that I guess him and all the other segregated witness people.
He speaks for them all.
Yeah, he speaks for all of them. Are delighted that there's a fork that there's a fork coming up and that this is going to be created because now Roger will go away. But then I think about that from the standpoint is, who would make a post like that other than somebody who wishes to undermine in the first place? If you're delighted, you would say nothing because you want somebody to go off and do something that's, damaging or whatever. Your enemy to go off and damage themselves. This is like this is the art of war right there. You wouldn't stop them. Don't stop your enemy from harming themselves. So I don't know. I mean, I cannot understand what's going on there during World War Geek, as sort of what I'm trying to be is as unbiased as an observer as I can.
Yeah, I think just everybody, if they stop and think for themselves for a minute and don't worry so much about what a bunch of people you don't even know on the internet are saying, ask yourself, is a version of Bitcoin in which the transactions are very fast and very cheap and very difficult to double spend, is that version of Bitcoin more useful than a version of Bitcoin in which the transactions are very slow and very expensive and people can double spend the transactions at any time before they get included in a block? And if you stop and think for yourself for a moment, the fast, cheap, safe version of Bitcoin is more useful than the slow, expensive, and unsafe version of Bitcoin. And then if you think for another moment, okay, if Bitcoin Cash has fast, cheap, safe transactions and Bitcoin Legacy has slow, expensive, unsafe transactions, which one are you going to want to use? Which one are people around the world going to want to use? Which one of those are going to be more useful to people? And the one that is more useful for people is the one that more people are going to wind up using. So
it might not who knows how long that's going to take to shake out. I mean, we're going to see the Bitcoin Cash appear on markets, as you mentioned, big ones like Kraken, for instance, which is a major domestic exchange here. Bitfinex also announced support for Bitcoin Cash recently, also one of the world's largest exchanges. The trading's going to be hot and heavy as soon as Bitcoin Cash hits the market, and it's going to be interesting to see, what does the market actually value, because sometimes it doesn't do what you think it's going to do. I mean, remember when Ethereum split last year, Roger? It was Ethereum, for listeners that don't know, is the number 2 cryptocurrency right now. When Ethereum had its fork and became Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, it was based on an ideological divide where the Ethereum folks said, well, we need to go back and fix this error that occurred where millions of dollars worth of Ether leaked into somebody's wallet from, and the other side said, well, no, the mistake should be allowed to be made, and people need to learn learn the hard way, and the ledger should be immutable. Well, the people who went back in time and hard forked back in time before the leakage had occurred, that ended up being the Ethereum that's most popular today, the most valuable. It's got the higher position on the charts, and so a lot of people I think the people on this show would say, well, they should have stuck with the immutable version, but that version, Ethereum Classic, while it's in the top 5 or 6, is not as big as the one that they did go back and change up. So who knows how this is all going to play out, but it seems like Bitcoin Cash has at least enough support behind it to probably continue on into the future, although we won't know for sure until it actually hits, right?
Yeah, and it actually hits very, very shortly here. And actually, while we were on the show, one of the miners that are on our mining pool at Bitcoin.com was texting me, hey, am I going to be able to mine Bitcoin Cash in your pool? And the answer is yes. So we've sold millions of dollars of hash rate to people all over the world. That hash rate now belongs to them. They can mine whatever they want with it. And
that was another question I had. Can you stick with us for one more segment? We can talk about the Bitcoin mining pool that you've set up. We've been promoting it recently here on Free Talk Live, but Mark and I are already in mining contracts. Are we going to be able to, if we want, to switch it mid-contract to Bitcoin Cash? So I'll let you answer that coming up here in moments. And also, what do we do? What do people do out there if they've got Bitcoin and they want to prepare for what's coming on August 1st? More coming up. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin, but imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the program. We are covering the ongoing conflict within the Bitcoin community, the world's most popular, the world's first ever cryptocurrency is going to become 2 Bitcoins coming up likely on August 1st. Depending on which time zone you're in, maybe as soon as July 31st in the evening, again, depending on where in the world you are. But after that point in time, if you have Bitcoin, some amount of it, you will then have the same amount of what's going to be called Bitcoin Cash if you do the right steps. And one way to make sure you don't have the Bitcoin Cash is to leave your Bitcoin in a place like Coinbase, which has come out and made the announcement this week that they will not be supporting the new Bitcoin Cash, which means that anybody that's holding Bitcoin through Coinbase, which is a very popular way of buying Bitcoin, anybody holding Bitcoin on Coinbase, sorry, come August 2nd, when the dust clears after this Bitcoin forking incident, you're going to be SOL. You are not going to have access to Bitcoin Cash. If Coinbase wants your Bitcoin Cash behind the scenes, they'll be able to take it for themselves because Coinbase is holding what's called your private keys when it comes to Bitcoin. Roger Ver is with us from Bitcoin.com. And Bitcoin.com Roger, is your group that you use to kind of promote Bitcoin, to get the word out about Bitcoin. There's a great news site there at news.bitcoin.com, some cool games that folks can play, and information about the various different wallets that one can download, including the new Bitcoin.com wallet, which you guys recently launched. So there's, I think, some pretty important questions still to cover here, and I guess one of them is, what should people do coming up to prepare for August 1st, and shouldn't they be preparing right now? Because I heard today, I think I actually saw it on the reddit.com/BTC forum, that Coinbase is taking like 12 hours to process withdrawals. Meaning if you have Bitcoin in Coinbase and you say, whoa, I heard on Free Talk Live I need to get this Bitcoin out into what's called a non-custodial wallet like Jax or the Bitcoin.com wallet or Mycelium or Airbits, and people go in, they log into Coinbase to try to withdraw their Bitcoin, it may be half a day before you actually get it out. Have you heard that information?
Yeah, I was reading that same information, and I guess it's worth pointing out that today Coinbase is not supporting Bitcoin Cash, but Coinbase used to only support Bitcoin. Today they support Bitcoin, they support Ethereum, they support Litecoin, and more all the time.
That's true.
If Bitcoin Cash gets enough traction, I suspect that they'll support Bitcoin Cash as well. And they announced that they were not supporting Bitcoin Cash before all these other exchanges and wallets announced that they will be supporting Bitcoin Cash. So the more exchanges and wallets that do support it, the more pressure there is on Coinbase and everybody else to start supporting it. So it's this cycle of reinforcement. The more things that do support it, the more likely everything that's not already supporting it is feeling pressure to start supporting it. So we may see them support it in the future.
Maybe so, but that doesn't help anybody with Bitcoin in Coinbase right now. If they want to get access to Bitcoin Cash, they got to get it out, and they got to get it out soon. So, it seems to me like the best course of action, the safest course of action, would be to get one of those non-custodial wallets like Jax or Bitcoin.com or, the others I mentioned. Move your Bitcoin from Coinbase or any other exchange, because not all the exchanges are going to support this split. Some of them will, like Kraken or Bitfinex, but if you've got Bitcoin in some place where you don't control the private keys, and how do you know if you control the private key? Well, if you've written down 12 words as a backup for your wallet, if you're keeping your 12 words like in a safe or something like that, in case you lose your phone, that's an indicator that you have the right kind of wallet. Isn't that right, Roger?
Yeah, you could be our official spokesperson there, Ian. That's perfect.
So you move the Bitcoin out of the Coinbase or wherever it is that you have it into your own wallet where you control the private keys. Then once the split happens, then there's going to be some set of instructions that you'll have to follow depending on which wallet you've chosen. Because again, Jax is going to support it. I believe Coinomi came out and said they're going to support it. Bitcoin.com. Is there an official position from Bitcoin.com?
Yeah, we'll be supporting it, and we're working on making the small changes that we'll need to do to support it right now. And the Bitcoin wallet will support both versions of Bitcoin. It'll support the SegWit 2x legacy version, and then the Bitcoin Cash version as well.
Great. And then once you get it out of Coinbase, you can breathe a sigh of relief because you don't have to worry about it. Now, if you're wanting to trade it, so some of these wallets like Jax, they're working on implementing Bitcoin Cash, but it may not be ready for August 1st or August 2nd, when the dust clears. So folks, if you have those wallets, you'll have to be patient, but you will get access to Bitcoin Cash once they finish implementing that and they upload, the new version of that to their, to the Google Play Store or whatever. But if you want to be one of the bleeding edge people who wants to start trading, let's say you are really excited by Bitcoin Cash and you want to sell off some original Bitcoin and get more Bitcoin Cash, or vice versa. Maybe you hate the idea of Bitcoin Cash and you want to sell your Bitcoin Cash and get more original Bitcoin. Well, then you'd have to have access to that, if you want to trade right away. One of the best ways to do that, I would think, would be to leave some Bitcoin that you want to trade perhaps on the exchanges that are going to support the split. Now, the risk is if you ever leave coin on one of these exchanges, the exchange could be hacked and you might lose both of them. But odds are they probably won't get hacked. So if you want to have access to your Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin the soonest, it would seem to me that leaving some Bitcoin on a Kraken or a Bitfinex exchange would be the best way to do that, because then you'll have quick access to it as soon as the dust clears. As soon as they open the gates for trading, you'll be able to hit the ground running. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, although if you're feeling extra adventurous, you can actually do it right now today by using some exchanges over in China. So there's an exchange called viabtc.com and another one I believe called hitbit.com. And with both of those, you can deposit your Bitcoin today. They'll lock those and split them into two versions of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Legacy and then the Bitcoin Cash. And you can trade against them right now. So if you're wanting to buy more Bitcoin Cash, I would recommend via BTC. If you want to sell your Bitcoin Cash for more Bitcoin, I would recommend Hitbit because the pricing is actually significantly different on those two exchanges, which is interesting. So Bitcoin Cash on via BTC is about 8 Bitcoin Cash for 1 Bitcoin, and it's closer to 3-to-1 on the Hitbit exchange. So
interesting.
Depending on which direction you want to go would probably make you choose which one of those exchanges to use. But like always, when you're using the exchange, you're at their mercy. So be aware of the risks that are involved there.
So, Roger, one of the things you pointed out to me in private the other day was that, these Bitcoin mining pool operators, they've agreed to follow this consensus agreement that we talked about earlier with what's called SegWit 2X plan. They've agreed to follow that, but they can't obligate the individual people who make up their mining pool, because a mining pool is a bunch of individuals who've joined together to sort of mine in tandem to try to find new Bitcoins. And they can't obligate those individuals to follow their lead. So those individuals could flip their miners over to, let's say, pool.bitcoin.com and start mining Bitcoin Cash over there as soon as that's available, correct? So it is possible that even though the mining pool operators themselves are sort of stuck with following the SegWit 2X to some extent, the individuals could defect and join Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, because this mining equipment is spread out all over the world. People own it, and they can do what they want with it. I know this same exchange that I just mentioned via BTC, they also have a mining pool over there. And I'm looking on the front page right now, already a significant portion of their hash rate is on their pool mining Bitcoin Cash as opposed to the legacy Bitcoin.
Roger, I'm going to ask if you don't mind one more segment with us. Stick with us here because I've got more questions about pool.bitcoin.com coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Is that Ellen painting her garage?
Yesterday she was trimming her hedges.
What's her secret?
I heard she was eating this new super berry called the Aronia berry.
Aronia what?
Aronia berries from superberries.com. They're known for having one of the highest levels of antioxidants that helps with overall wellness.
Where can we get them?
Go to superberries.com/radio. And right now we get a free smoothie recipe book with our order. Plus we can save $4 at checkout.
I can't wait. I've got lots of projects I need to get done.
Yes, you do.
Choose health. Eat purple. Superberries.com.
This is novelist Tom Robbins. When my mother was diagnosed with glaucoma, her conservative Virginia physician told her there was only one treatment that might ease her pain and save her eyesight. That treatment was medical marijuana, which he could not prescribe. I offered to get her some and teach her how to use it effectively, but my father objected because marijuana was against the law. So my mother, who loved to read and walk in nature, was condemned to grow cruelly, unnecessarily blind. Tragedies like this happen all the time, but they don't have to keep happening. To learn more about medical marijuana, call the Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or visit them on the web at mpp.org.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free and join us here on the radio as we continue with the live Saturday edition of the program. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We've been talking about Bitcoin, the world's first cryptocurrency, the world's most popular cryptocurrency, but its popularity has been waning in the face of competition that has been out there. In that Bitcoin used to be like 85 to 90% of the total market cap for all of the cryptocurrencies in the world combined. Right now, it is just above 50%, according to CoinCap.io, of the total market cap. Now, it's not that Bitcoin's unpopular. It's all of the other cryptocurrencies have been gaining in popularity, and so the entirety of the idea of cryptocurrency is alive and well, and that's due to a lot of the hot competition provided by organizations like Dash, where they're helping build a better financial system for everyone. And you can join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, private, and easy. Fees are low and transactions are fast and can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now, so go to Dash.org and find out why. And I actually converted a fair amount of some of my Bitcoin that I've been holding on to for a while into Dash, just because I'm excited by what Dash is doing. I think it's doing some cool stuff. Roger, you had mentioned, Roger Veer is with us from Bitcoin.com, that you've been using Dash to transfer money to people because the fees are lower and it's a little bit faster.
Yeah, Dash is following a roadmap that's much, much closer to what was originally laid out for Bitcoin than what these people that came to Bitcoin later with Blockstream and their full block policy and trying to convert it into a settlement layer are following. So at the moment, Dash is on a better path than the Blockstream version of Bitcoin, but that's about to change with Bitcoin Cash. I think Bitcoin Cash is going to put Bitcoin on a much better path to making it actually useful as money. But
and we've got actually a call on the line here, so I'm going to go to Randy. He's listening in Michigan to WKHM out of Jackson. Randy, you're on with Roger Veer. Go ahead.
Hey, love the show.
Thanks.
But I've been listening to you on and off over the years and listening about Bitcoin. But why would anybody really need to go to the trouble of what I'm hearing, that one day Bitcoin's up 30% and then it plunges 20%, then we've got all this other... Why would you risk your good money in something that's kind of like a crapshoot, a casino?
Roger? So I can give you two good answers there. So one is that over the long run, the price is up. and it's not guaranteed for the price to go up in continue to go up in the future, but it is guaranteed that the value of the dollar will go down over time. And another great reason is a great website called saveatpurse.com. You can go and buy some Bitcoin and then take your Bitcoin over to saveatpurse.com. And you can buy anything you want from Amazon.com at a 10, 15, 20% discount. So even if the price of Bitcoin, moves by 5 or 10% in one day, you just save 20% on your purchase at Amazon. You're still coming ahead 10%. And generally, the price of Bitcoin does not fluctuate 10% in a day. It can and it has, but that's the exception, not the rule. So if you like saving money, you have a reason to use Bitcoin by going to saveatpurse.com.
Yep, that is a darn good reason. And, risk is involved. It could go down in value, but there are a lot of people who put money into risky things. I mean, it's just generally, some people could look at Bitcoin as an investment more than a currency, but it is a currency first and foremost. But, risk is involved.
Okay, well, thanks for your answers, and I just don't think I'm ready to go there yet.
That's okay, Randy.
It just got to wait for a shakeout, but I love your show.
Well, you know what? Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate hearing from you. And
Jackson, Michigan needs more shows like this. Thank
awesome.
you.
Hey, well,
have a good night.
Thank you. And if you like Free Talk Live, feel free to call the program director of your favorite radio station that is airing the show. Or if they're not airing the show, call them and let them know you want to hear Free Talk Live. But tell them thanks for airing some Free Talk Live, and tell them you want to hear more of the program. And actually in Jackson, I believe that they are currently airing us not just on the weekends, but that they also have us on, I think, for 1 hour on weeknights as well. I'm double checking here. Yeah, so you guys actually are fortunate enough to get us 6 nights a week there in Jackson, but you only get 1 out of our 3 hours on the weeknights. So just call up, talk to the program director, and ask real nice like for more Free Talk Live. So yeah, risk involved. It can be a little scary watching the day-to-day ups and downs of Bitcoin. But as you pointed out, Roger, over time, over the years, Bitcoin is up. And it's up in a big way just in the last several months. But there is no guarantee that that's going to continue. Maybe after this fork, as happened with Ethereum when it forked last year, maybe when Bitcoin splits coming up on August 1st, maybe both Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash are going to take a big tumble in price. That's certainly what we saw happen with Ethereum and Ethereum Classic last year when their fork happened. Both of them tumbled dramatically in price. But over time, they've both come back in a big, big way. So all of that is possible.
And it's worth pointing out that immediately after the fork with Ethereum, the combined market cap was much greater than it was before. And then over the next couple of months, the price went down. But there's probably a million different factors there, and I don't think it was a direct result of the fork that the price went down over the next couple of months. And now it's when Ethereum forked, I think the price was $14 or something like that, whereas now it's almost $200. So.
Yeah, it's been an incredible rise for both Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. Both of them have gone up significantly since last year's split. Now, the Bitcoin pool that you guys have over at pool.bitcoin.com, we've been talking about it on the air. Mark and I, we both got into, on our own, by the way, got into the Bitcoin pool that you guys have, the mining pool. And as we've pointed out, people who know what they're doing with mining can join the pool. So if you already have the equipment you need and the technical know-how and you're already into Bitcoin mining, you can just go to pool.bitcoin.com. You can join up. And is it currently paying out, is it 110% of the block rewards?
Right, we're the highest paying pool in the world, so you'll earn more money on our pool than any other pool. And currently, yeah, that's right, we're paying out 110% of the block reward.
How do you do that? I mean, are you just subsidizing that, Roger? How do you make it 110% out of something that should only be 100%?
So we do that because of all these fees on the network. So the extra 10% is coming from the network fees. So we're probably going to have to drop down to 100% shortly after this Bitcoin Cash fork, because I think the fees are going to go way, way, way down. Certainly on the Bitcoin Cash side of the fork, we'll be paying 100%. And we'll see how much of the user base switches over to that and what happens to fees on the Bitcoin side of the network.
So if you know what you're doing with mining, you can join right away. If you don't know what you're doing, or if you just don't want to deal with the hassle, because I've done some mining, but man, I don't want to have computers running constantly doing that. And it's, something breaks, then you got to fix it. And the folks over at pool.bitcoin.com, they've got an easy way for people who just want to invest in Bitcoin mining to just get into it. There's an easy system that you can use to kind of calculate what you might make off of the Bitcoin mining contract that you get into over at pool.bitcoin.com. And then you can have the pros taking care of the technical side of things, and then you just collect what comes back in. But you'd mentioned Bitcoin Cash, this potential fork, and that the miners can decide what to do with that. If you're already in a contract for mining, as Mark and I both are over at pool.bitcoin.com, are we going to be able to change from regular old Bitcoin mining to the new Bitcoin Cash, or do we have to wait till the contract expires or create a new contract?
Yeah, the hash rate that you purchased with your contract belongs to you, so you'll be able to mine whatever you want with it. And after I'm done with your show today, I'll be heading into the office to scramble to make sure we have that all ready by the August 1st deadline.
Okay.
And we're hard at work with that, so look for that within the next probably 48 hours. You'll be able to select with your existing contract which version of Bitcoin you want to mine with that contract. And we also actually plan to have it set up so that if you're not sure, you can just choose to mine whichever one is most profitable. So we can calculate which version of Bitcoin will be most profitable to mine, and your mining power will automatically mine that version of Bitcoin.
Over at pool.bitcoin.com. Roger, I know I keep asking you for more time. We've got calls on the line. Do you want to take some more calls from some folks?
Absolutely.
All right, Roger Veer is with us here and being very generous with this time. He's got a busy day of preparation for what is this crazy Bitcoin. I'm not going to call it a civil war. People have not been civil in this. A lot of people have not been civil in this conflict. It's a geek war, and it's people hiding behind computer screens. It's kind of ugly out there. So we'll continue with Roger Veer, Bitcoin.com. If you've got a question for him, we'll try to get it in here coming up. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
And membership is only $9.95.
Yep. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing. To be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free and join us here. Now, if you want to bring up something that's not related to Bitcoin, you can do that. Coming up here in the third hour, we're going to have open phones, as we always do here on Free Talk Live. But every now and then we do stop down for a special guest, and that's what we've done tonight for an extended interview with Roger Ver from Bitcoin.com, as the world is on the brink of a split in Bitcoin, a fork as they call it, going from the same old Bitcoin it's always been to a new form of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash. But yet the old Bitcoin will still be around. Which Bitcoin will be the true Bitcoin? Which Bitcoin will the market side with, as far as this is the king Bitcoin? That remains to be seen. We're going to know more after the dust clears to some extent after August 1st, when all of this is expected to go down. So we're going to continue here. We've got Roger with us from Bitcoin.com. It's Ian and Mark in the studio. And Mark, you had a question for Roger, and then we're going to get to a call here.
Me first?
Yeah, you first, because I'm not sure if this caller is actually calling for Roger.
There are a lot of people out there wondering what's going to happen come August 1st, and not just like at August 1st, but sort of beyond that. Bitcoin is a speculative, besides being a currency and the world-changing aspects of that, it's a speculative investment. And in speculative investments, people speculate. And speculators often want to hear the greats in the industry speak about what their speculation is. What's your speculation about what's going to happen?
Oh, sorry, Roger. Try that again. We got you now.
Turn him on there.
My speculation about what's going to happen is that there's going to be a fork here on August 1st. I think there'll be 2 different versions of Bitcoin. I think they'll both likely continue. Over time, I think the market will converge on one of them. There'll be another fork of Bitcoin here in a couple of more weeks with the SegWit 2x versus the legacy 1 megabyte version of Bitcoin with SegWit now. But Bitcoin's not only competing against its own versions of Bitcoin, Bitcoin's competing against Dash, against Ethereum, against Zcash, Monero, on and on and on. But one thing that I do think that we are going to see is, a couple hundred years ago, if you said there's going to be a separation of church and state, you would look like a madman, and they might burn you at the stake for saying such crazy things.
Yeah.
But today we all just take for granted that, of course, church and state should be separated.
Can you believe people of different religions live on the same street? I mean, how
shocking.
It is shocking. In the course of human history, the idea that this might happen, especially in sort of Western civilization, is shocking. There were hundreds of years after the Reformation, the Protestant Reformation, where you couldn't get Catholics and Protestants within a few miles of each other without the long knives coming out. And now, no biggie. It's no biggie.
And I think we're about to see the same thing, whereas, before the invention of Bitcoin, if you said there should be a separation of money and state, people would think that you're living in La La Land. But today we're seeing it happen right before our eyes. All over the world, people are choosing to use money that's not issued by governments any longer. So I think that's going to be one of the long-lasting effects of the invention of Bitcoin, is that now there's literally people have a separation of money and state. People aren't going to be using money with issued by governments anymore, and I think that's a great thing for the whole world. And there's competition amongst different forms of money. The Jax wallet with Shapeshift built in makes it so easy to convert your Bitcoin to Dash, to Monero, not Monero and Jax yet, but a bunch of other currencies there as well. So and maybe Monero at some point as well. And they're adding more and more all the time. I think they added like 3 or 4 more currencies this week, I saw. So it's really, really easy for people to choose what money they want to use at this point. And that's a great thing. The more choices people have, the better.
And people are starting to, really have the opportunity to make this choice. Bitcoin is, at least here in New Hampshire, where we're doing this show, becoming more and more available in the marketplace, as far as there are now Bitcoin vending machines in major cities across New Hampshire. And we've even started seeing them pop up. For a while, New Hampshire was the only place with them, because the ones in Boston had gone out of business for whatever reason, and now there's more in Massachusetts. I even just saw a couple of them pop up in Maine now, so Maine finally has their first Bitcoin vending machine, so we've sort of led the trend up here in New England. And also, we're leading in Bitcoin acceptance in real life. We actually have the ability to walk down Main Street here in Keene, New Hampshire, and go into multiple mom-and-pop retail establishments and actually spend Bitcoin. We had today, Roger, I don't know if you were aware of this because I just went to press with the story right before the show, but over at freekeene.com, I've posted the link to the full page front feature, above the fold feature article in today's Keene Sentinel about Bitcoin. It's in the business section, front page, but it's also on the front page of the the main page of the paper, right above the fold. So major promotion for Bitcoin today, and we didn't pay a dime for this coverage. I've been doing advertising. I've sort of taken your model. You've been the inspiration for me with the Shire Free Church here to do outreach for Bitcoin, but focusing in a local area. So, you got in way early. You got a whole bunch of Bitcoin really cheap. You're doing very, very well on it. We're not as well funded here, but we do have some money that we've got coming in from these Bitcoin vending machines, and we're turning around and spending that on promoting Bitcoin locally here in some of the old media. So we did some radio ads toward the end of last year, and then just recently we wrapped up a 13-week campaign in what's called the Monadnock Shopper, which is a newspaper that goes to like 40,000 households in Cheshire County. Basically, every house in Cheshire County receives that. A month ago, Bitcoin was on the front page of the Shopper, and got a lot of buzz around town as a result of that. People wanted to learn more about Bitcoin, and so I think the local big newspaper, which actually doesn't have the distribution the Shopper does, the daily paper in town, the Keene Sentinel, they must have gotten a little jealous, and they decided they wanted to put together a story of their own. And their reporter contacted me and several other of the local Bitcoiners and business owners taking Bitcoin, and really wrote what was a shockingly good, fair article. It wasn't a hack job on Bitcoin or anything like that. It was really an open-minded article, just kind of talking to people in local businesses about why they're taking Bitcoin. And the level of success we've had here in New Hampshire with a relatively small concentration of libertarian and Bitcoiner activists in the area has been, I would say, unprecedented. I mean, to have 2 front-page, above-the-fold articles in old media within 4 weeks of one another in a town of 23,000 people. Do you ever see any coverage like that anywhere else popping up?
I think that just shows the power of centralizing liberty activists and Bitcoin users in one place. So, which, for those that don't know, I heard about your show thanks to the Free State Project, and there you guys are having such a huge effect, spreading liberty and Bitcoin at the same time in the state of New Hampshire. So it just shows how effective. You don't want everything to be decentralized. There's a lot of times in which centralizing people is a good thing too.
Right, and not everybody has to move to Keene, New Hampshire. If you love liberty and you love cryptocurrency and you want to see a real haven created for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency users, I think New Hampshire can be that place, but we need more people to get up here and get active. We had, of course, the amazing success with the Bitcoin protection bill that went into place this year, putting New Hampshire as basically the polar opposite of New York, where New York created a Bitcoin regulation package to basically crush the life out of any Bitcoin businesses in the state and force them to move elsewhere. New Hampshire is now doing the opposite of that, and specifically has legislation that passed this year saying that if you're doing Bitcoin or cryptocurrency only business, you are not considered to be a money transmitter in New Hampshire. And we're hoping that a lot of Bitcoin businesses are going to see that signal and consider, locating or starting up their businesses here. So it's really an exciting time to be a part of this migration, this New Hampshire freedom migration. And folks can learn more about that over at move.shiresociety.com. But check out the 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. It's a great documentary film at 101reasonsfilm.com. Let's bring Fred on the line here quickly. I'm not sure if you're calling to talk to Roger Ver. Fred, do you have a question for Roger?
Well, this is all very fascinating. I've been spending a lot of time perusing YouTube, and I've been fascinated with history. A lot of the presentations get into the historic perspective.
It sounds like this is going to be a long question. I'm going to put you on hold, Fred, and we'll answer your question because Mark and I are pretty experienced at this. Roger, any final thoughts you want to share here with our audience tonight?
I think the advice has been the same from day one with Bitcoin, is hold your Bitcoins on your own device in which you have the private keys, and go to bitcoin.com to learn more.
Awesome. Thanks for taking 2 hours out of your morning over there in Tokyo today, and I'm sure we're going to continue keeping our listeners up to date with this Bitcoin war that is going on behind the scenes, spilling out into public view over the next few days here as Bitcoin prepares and the folks supporting Bitcoin prepare to take sides on this upcoming Bitcoin fork. It's very interesting and very important news that we're continuing to cover here on Free Talk Live. Roger Ver from Bitcoin.com. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
More coming up here. Hour number 3 is on the way. We've got time for you. We'll see what Fred actually has to say here in a moment. It's Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought about mining Bitcoin? Did the costs, constant equipment upgrades, and maintenance scare you off? Do you want to make Bitcoin every day in the same mining pool that Ian and I do? Pool.bitcoin.com. There's a 100% uptime guarantee. The website's easy to use, and you can calculate what you're going to make right there on the website at pool.bitcoin.com. Help steer Bitcoin towards the liberating currency that Satoshi Nakamoto meant it to be. I'm not just making money at pool.bitcoin.com. I'm doing activism while I sleep. Pool.bitcoin.com. What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, July 29th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.75 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,269 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 6.1 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,747. And Howard.com reports after several months of warning they'd retaliate if the U.S. kept making hostile moves, Russia on Friday did so, seizing a pair of U.S. diplomatic properties and ordering the U.S. Embassy in Russia to reduce its staff to 455 by September. The sites are both in Moscow. Russia is giving the United States until Tuesday, August 1st, to be out of those 2 sites. This is more or less retaliation for the move in December, in which the Obama administration seized a pair of vacation houses owned by the Russian Embassy in the United United States. Russia at the time said they were holding off retaliation, hoping the Trump administration would have a change of heart and return the properties. They did not. The cap of 455 embassy staff appears to be a significant reduction, though exactly how many that amounts to is not totally clear. Russia is not singling out specific people who have to leave, but has complained recently that there are too many U.S. spies in Moscow with embassy credentials. Some are speculating this could expel in excess of 100 embassy staffers and is retaliation to both the U.S. expulsion of Russian embassy staffers back in December and a growing array of U.S. sanctions against Russia. The U.S. Embassy issued a statement saying they had expressed strong disappointment and protest to the Russian government. Since Russia's been complaining about comparable moves from the U.S. side for 7 solid months, it's unlikely Russia is going to be too worried about U.S. disappointment. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports U.S. Representative John Delaney of Maryland announced Friday he is planning to challenge President Donald Trump in the 2020 presidential election. The third-term congressman revealed the news in an op-ed published by the Washington Post. In it, he called for bipartisanship to rise above our broken politics. He wrote, "We are letting critical opportunities to improve the country pass us by, and we are not even talking about the most important thing, the future. The victims of this leadership failure are the good people we've sworn to serve, and we are leaving our country ill-prepared for dramatic changes ahead. The current administration is making us less prosperous and less secure. The centrist Democrat isn't well known outside of his district, which is why he told the Baltimore Sun he's announcing his candidacy and outreach now." Delaney said, "I know what I'm getting into. I want to do all the hard work to earn the people's trust, to listen to them, and I feel like as I run this campaign over the next couple of years, people will get to know me." In the Post, Delaney touted his business acumen. He ran 2 publicly traded companies before the age of 40, and his fresh perspective on technological innovation and globalization. Delaney called for new infrastructure and international tax reform, as well as healthcare, immigration, and education reform with a focus on volunteerism and public service. In light of the announcement, Delaney says he does not plan to run for re-election to the House in 2018. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a sweetened beverage tax will take effect in Chicago on Wednesday after an Illinois judge threw out a lawsuit by retailers that argued the measure was vague and unlawful. Cook County, which includes Chicago and surrounding suburbs, joins a growing number of localities across the United States that have adopted measures to cut consumption of sugary drinks for health reasons, including Seattle and San Francisco. Cook County Circuit Judge Daniel Kubasiak decided in the county's favor on Friday, about a month after he had halted implementation of the penny per ounce tax in response to the lawsuit by the Illinois Retail Merchants Association. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Medical experts announced that an Ebola vaccine is at least 50 white people away from being developed. The CIA is now ready to install a female world leader, and a sex toy is discreetly shipped in a plain dildo-shaped box. Rising to the top of the video news summary game through an unstoppable combination of glad-handing and payoffs, this is the Onion Week in Review. Reflecting on his accomplishments and questioning his current abilities, the Lord God Almighty, our Heavenly Father and Blessed Savior, told reporters that he was no longer confident whether he would be able to create the world in only 7 days. He who commanded light to shine from the darkness admitted that the mere thought of producing the entirety of the universe from nothingness, a task he once completed with time to spare, had become surprisingly daunting, and added that creating a small, lifeless moon or asteroid now seemed like a more realistic unrealistic goal. In this week's science news, psychology comes to a halt as weary researchers say the mind cannot possibly study itself.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the third hour of this live Saturday edition of the program. As always, with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We'll take your calls about anything you want to discuss. The first 2 hours of the show tonight, if you're just tuning in, were an interview with Roger Ver from Bitcoin.com. We've had Roger on the show a number of times in the past, but it was all the more important to have him on again here tonight to talk about the upcoming Bitcoin fork that is very, very likely to occur sometime on August 1st or July 31st, depending on which time zone you're in. And as we get closer to that date, we're going to continue to, update you as this situation is fluid. It changes day to day. So stay tuned to Free Talk Live because we're here every day. So that's one thing that's nice about Free Talk Live is, every 21 hours at 7 p.m. Eastern time, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be on the air talking about something, usually taking your calls about absolutely anything you want to discuss. So feel free to join us here. We're going to bring Fred back on in Michigan. Fred, I apologize for having to put you back on hold abruptly there. I didn't want to ask Roger to hang on for another segment after having to ask him to stay for 2 hours with us. So what were you calling about? Go ahead with your thoughts.
Oh, well, can you hear me all right?
Yes, just loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay. So in 1987, this is on YouTube about a global currency. And, the Pokemon and I guess even Putin, even Trump have declared an interest or a need for a global currency.
Yes.
Economist magazine, 1987, featured something called the Phoenix, where they depicted this phoenix bird arising from flames, which appear to be Federal Reserve notes burning up. And, so we know that Ron Paul had a big gig about auditing the Fed, even ending the Fed. And, I never knew, when I read the Federal Charter, U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, and Article 1, Section 10, it says gold and silver coin, essentially, exclusively, nothing but.
Well, it says that for the states.
Yeah, okay, so we did have silver certificates that were redeemable, right?
Oh, yeah, for a time.
Now, one of the presentations that I found on YouTube, let's see, it was called the Federal Reserve Act of 1913 Federal Reserve Act Remedy in Law. This guy David Merrill, he's like a tax attorney, but in 1978 in law school at George Washington University, he brought legal action against the Federal Reserve's Open Market Committee, and it's astonishing, man. It goes back to the Judiciary Act of 1789. It's called Savings to Suitors, and what it provides is that an elastic versus inelastic currency. The elastic currency, as it intimates, the Federal Reserve, it can be, valued and devalued, whatever. And
based
so,
on the whims of politicians, the way all
exactly
the way all central currencies are.
Yeah, but there's this provision in the Federal Reserve Act that this David Merrill, that was the core of his legal action. And I don't have the actual court case memorized, but there's a medical doctor, he sounds like a British guy, John Henry Hill, .wordpress.com. He puts it all, he provides all of the transcript.
Well, what are we supposed to get out of this? I mean, you're kind of giving us some history here that's obscure. What's the relevance?
So cryptocurrency, as it implies, to me, it's nothing that I can actually hold as a substantive form, whereas, let's say, silver dollars. I would like to see the federal charter's provision for silver dollars or silver certificates reestablished.
Oh, I think that'd be
Wait
great.
a second. You want to turn over? You want to reestablish or establish or give the power of currency manipulation to the government?
Well, they already have that.
Silver and gold have been manipulated for decades by the people in power, and governments have been at their behest all along this, and you just want to return to a time when governments set the value of dollars versus metals?
I believe that it worked for a significant length of time until some really diabolical entities seized control.
I don't think it's a bad idea to put, gold or silver backing behind the government money. I mean, I don't want to see the government money exist, but it's probably going to continue to exist for a while. And it was definitely a stronger currency when it did have that backing. Mark, you and I,
No, I don't believe that at all.
No?
No, absolutely not.
Didn't it lose the supermajority of the dollar's value after they took away the backing?
The government effed the dollar when, in the Bretton Woods Accords in 1971 when they did the last decoupling of metals to the dollar. There's no doubt about it. But this agency, this organization has been, the state has been messing with money for thousands of years as often as they get a hold of it. I say let them continue to bang nails in their coffin with this crappy currency that they have.
They're never going to do it.
Wait a second. No, Ian, this is important.
Yeah.
When your enemy is killing themselves, you do not take the hammer out of their hands.
I see what you're saying.
Let them continue, by God.
But what he's saying isn't a bad idea offhand. I mean, you're ripping him a new one over it. You're ripping him a new one over it. But
I'm not. No. I'm giving him an opportunity to look at this from another direction.
Yeah.
I think he's on my side. I like him. But here's
Thanks for the call, Fred. I appreciate it.
So here's an opportunity to look at this from another side. Yes, silver you can hold in your hand.
Sure, I've got some.
You've got different tools for different jobs. Look, I've got a shed full of tools. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I need a drill bit that's a 1/4 inch. Sometimes I need one that's a 1/2 inch. It's not that I say I like my 1/4 inch bit better than my 1/2 inch bit. I have to use them for different things. You can't shove silver dollars into the vent holes of your computer and have them come out in Uganda.
No, don't try it.
But you can send Bitcoin around the world. It is an incredible internet currency. However, if something happens and the Germans blow up an EMP over the United States, or the Russians, take down the World Wide Web, well then, by God, your currency is down until you can get back on the web, if we ever get back on the web. So there are different tools for different jobs.
Right.
We are moving into a more internet age. And I say that, I've got silver and I've got gold. But I believe that the cryptocurrencies are going to become more and more useful in the same way that, I've got tools now that I use a heck of a lot more often than I did back in the day. So you got to have the right tool for the right job.
Right.
And I'm not here dissing the old tools. Sometimes you need a hand-cranked drill, but not every time. And you can't say, I love my hand-cranked grill, and you people with your cordless drills, you all stink. It's not that game.
Yeah. I mean, the reality, Mark, is that his idea is never going to happen. I mean, the government isn't going to, even if you wanted to put together some big campaign with millions of dollars backing it to try to promote the idea of bringing the silver backing back to the U.S. Federal Reserve Note, because it used to be called the Silver Certificate before they called it the Federal Reserve Note after they took away all the backing. they're never going to do it. I mean, because it would make it more difficult for them to inflate the money supply. It would make it more difficult for them to manipulate the currency, and they don't want to do that. They don't want to lose their power. So the odds that that'll ever occur in our lifetimes is, slim to none.
Yeah, it's a libertarian fantasy.
Yeah.
The idea that somehow, the government's ever going to get back on
Your time is
metal
limited.
currency.
Your time is limited. Your money's limited. Spend it advocating for something that matters. Cryptocurrency is something that matters. It really does compete and just destroys the government monies out there. So put some time into learning about that. More coming up here in moments. 855 450 free like freedom. It's Free Talk Live.
Did you know if you invested $1,000 in Bitcoin in early 2010, you'd have nearly $35 million right now? $1,000 in Ethereum in 2014 would be over $500,000. Isn't it time you focused on investing in blockchains and cryptos? Get up to speed on a new digital world of Bitcoin, Ethereum, ICOs, and blockchains. Hands-on intensive investment workshops so you can be confident buying, selling, and trading. Don't miss out. Go to 100xinvestors.com. Use code FTL20 for 20% off. That's code FTL20, 20% off. 100xinvestors.com.
I've discovered the next big thing on the internet. Symbi.com is a symbiotic economy with its own currency where people trade services virtually and locally. Forget the old economy. This is your economy. Symbi.com is slick to use and is backed by the same people that helped launch Reddit and Airbnb. I'm not kidding when I say this is the next big thing. Trust me. Go get an account at Symbi.com. Take a look around and post your services. Symbi, SIMBI.com.
Investing is a long-term process. How many times can you think of in the last decade that the stock market has destroyed retirement funds for people just like you and me? For your existing IRA, you need the security that gold has provided for centuries. Remember, gold has never been worth zero. Capital Gold would like to introduce you to the Home Storage Gold IRA. It's a self-directed IRA set up with all the protection and tax benefits of an LLC. But the big difference in this IRA is you invest in gold and you hold it in your possession. You can't do that with stocks. That's security. You can transfer any type of IRA hassle-free in days. Please call right now and learn more, and we'll waive the $500 setup fee and give you a free safe to store your gold. 800-535-7789. 800-535-7789. 800-535-7789. That's 800-535-7789.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101. If it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid transmedia pestering, like calling to ask, "Did you get my email?" or emailing to say, "I left you a voicemail." If your emails and voicemails aren't being acknowledged, your problem isn't technology, it's technique. Is your message concise and understandable? Have you boiled it down to seem as relevant as possible to the recipient? In other words, is it the opposite of spam or junk mail? All of this really matters if you're a job seeker. But even if you're not, with money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You are invited to take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Also, if you want to reach people with the ideas of liberty, you really ought to check out libertystickers.com. You can do it from the back of your car or your laptop or wherever it is you put stickers that people can see. You can reach thousands of people with a bumper sticker, and you know that people love to read them. Check out the vast selection of witty, poignant, pithy, and downright bombastic liberty-oriented messages over at libertystickers.com. As we continue with your calls and thoughts, let's go to Dan. He's on the line in Virginia. Dan, you're listening online through the LRN.FM app. Go ahead.
Man, what a great show tonight.
Thanks.
I always know it's a good show when my head is about to explode.
All right.
Because I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. I just find the idea of this cryptocurrency just fascinating. And I have two questions. The first one is, where do you go to just like an idiot like me who doesn't know anything? Where do you go to educate yourself on what to do, how to do it, and things like that?
From zero, learning from zero about Bitcoin, I would say bitcoin.com.
Okay, and that would be a place where you could, because I guess what I'm hearing from the show tonight is that this Bitcoin and these other currencies are like just an online internet currency. Is that correct?
Pretty much, yeah. You basically have to have some kind of internet connectivity, which we all seem to now, toting around our smartphones and stuff. But you have to have some kind of connectivity to spend it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I'm talking to you online through the car, phone, on the internet.
Right.
So figure that one out.
Imagine a digital form of cash, basically, and that's essentially what Bitcoin is. Although it's a little bit more complicated. There's essentially it's based on a distributed ledger that it exists in multiple locations, thousands of locations all around the globe. So, are you familiar at all with the idea of file sharing online?
Yes, I am.
So like, BitTorrent or Napster or whatever these other file sharing platforms have been, where a file that is being shared exists in multiple different, people's hard drives, and they're all sharing it at once. So when you go to download that file, you're receiving it from, a dozen different locations or whatever. Imagine that same concept
you're also saying,
applied to money.
Yeah, but you're also saying this is an investment as well. Is that correct?
You can look at it that way. I mean, Bitcoin is inherently, the idea of a currency, a digital currency. But some people are certainly, investing in it.
I'd say the vast majority of people are looking at it, at least in part, as an investment.
As a speculative investment.
Right. I mean, it's really difficult not to. When we first talked about Bitcoin, it was at 27 cents. It's now at $2,700. I can't tell you off the top of my head exactly how many thousands times that is in price, but it's a big, dramatic rise over the course of 6 or 7 years. And to find an investment that moves like that, is pretty rare. And so, yes, a lot of people.
That brings me to my second question, because what I'm hearing, and I could be wrong, I'm hearing that this is kind of like when I used to take the computer and write in DOS language. This is where Bitcoin and these currencies are right now, and it could go to something incredible. What's going to keep the government from saying, we don't like the competition, which they're very famous for doing, and saying we don't like this anymore, especially considering how the Federal Reserve even came about and all of that? What's going to keep the government or China, the United States, and India going, let's just shut this down, it's hurting us?
I think that's a really good question. And one of the things that makes Bitcoin really special is that it is distributed and decentralized, meaning that if the government of the United States decides to come after people who are running Bitcoin nodes here in the U.S., well, that's not going to shut down Bitcoin. If they come in here and they, take the computer out of this studio, well, there's 7,900 or so many, somewhere around that number, 8,000 other computers out there around the world that are doing the same thing, running the so-called full node of Bitcoin to help validate the transactions on the network. So it's impossible to take down the Bitcoin network. One government or another government or a handful of governments are not big enough and powerful enough to be able to take down the Bitcoin network. So regardless of what a government does in its jurisdiction, Bitcoin will continue. Your Bitcoin, if you have some, cannot be erased. It cannot be stopped by the government. It's sort of like, the Terminator, if you will, of currencies. Because it is so distributed, it's so decentralized, they can't just target, if government wanted to go and take out PayPal, well, all they'd have to do is just show up at their server room and just, pull the plug, and that would be it. Or if they had more than one server room, maybe a handful, pull the plug simultaneously at all of those. But with Bitcoin, it's an impossibility. Now, that's not to say that the governments won't try.
Who controls all these 8,000 computers? Is it one?
No, it's 8,000 different, probably 8,000 different people or thereabouts. Obviously, you could run more than one personally if you wanted to, so I could have two of them in this room if I wanted, but there's only one here. So let's say thousands of individuals around the world or companies are the people that are running those servers, and that's the strength of the decentralization, because not one person is in charge. No one is really in charge. The network makes decisions through a consensus process. It's very different.
Sounds like a libertarian fantasy.
But it's become real.
Well, if you fantasize about something long enough, then somebody's going to do it. And it wasn't that hard. They just had to come up with an idea that worked, and now the idea has worked, and Bitcoin exists. We just have to convince people, because this is healthy speculation. Exactly what is the NSA's role in Bitcoin, right? That's a question you should be asking, considering that this organization is collecting all your metadata online, right? The internet is the domain to some extent of the government, and on the other side, it's the domain of people being completely free. Bitcoin rests in the domain of people being completely free.
Beautiful, man. Thank you for the show. I really just beautiful.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate your call here tonight. Again, Bitcoin.com, great place to start. Our toll-free number here, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. So there was one other point I wanted to add to that, and that was that some governments are less friendly than others towards Bitcoin. So, for instance, down in Venezuela, if you're mining Bitcoin, the secret police are looking for you. In the United States, there's a kind of a patchwork of different governments here. The New York government, as I mentioned earlier, they've got their so-called bit license that they created back, I think it was in 2015, and subsequently have driven basically all of the Bitcoin startups out of that space, or out of New York. Because why would you want to locate your business if you're doing cryptocurrency stuff, like an exchange, for instance, in the state that is the least friendly towards you?
Sure.
So on the other hand, you've got New Hampshire, which just this year passed the Bitcoin Protection Bill, and that's what I labeled it. It protects all cryptocurrency from, as far as the businesses that are doing what's called traditionally money transmission, meaning that you're having them send Bitcoin to somebody else for you. Why you would do that, I don't know, but there are some businesses that qualify for that. Those businesses are explicitly protected from regulation in New Hampshire, which is basically the opposite of New York's bit license. And then the other states, some of them are considering regulations, but all they can really do is target companies. They can't really go after the individual.
If there's a toxic chemical, biological, gas, smoke emergency while traveling, at home, or on your job, are you protected? Are you prepared? There are over 400,000 fires in the USA every year. Up to 85% of all deaths in a fire are due to smoke inhalation. 3 minutes without air, and we as humans will die. Be prepared and escape safely with our Safe Escape smoke hoods, giving you up to 60 minutes of breathable air protection. Order yours online at ase-safety.com. That's ase-safety.com. And get up to 40% off, plus free shipping.
Welcome aboard. Your new science fiction adventure is ready to launch. Discover an amazing journey at GalaxyQuestBooks.com. Start a new sci-fi adventure with the Guardian series, a classic sci-fi mystery that starts 500 years in the future. From author D. Arthur Gussner. Series available from Barnes & Noble or Amazon as paperback or ebooks. GalaxyQuestBooks.com, where the adventure begins.
Free Talk Live.
For me, it's fighting negativity, and the negativity is
my thoughts in my head that are negative. And I had to learn to recognize when my thoughts were being negative, because most of my life, most of my thoughts were negative.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to become aware of when they were happening. And when I become aware of these negative thoughts pervading my thinking, I immediately fight them with positive thoughts. And most of the positive thoughts that I feed myself are positive affirmations about who I am, where I'm going, where I've come from.
Whenever I find myself thinking negatively, I don't consider it fighting the negative thoughts. I just consider it changing my train of thought. I just kind of change tracks to a positive thought and just focus on that.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free. It is the live Saturday edition of the program. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
We've got Skype as well, and you can join us there at Skype, username LRN.FM. We've been pretty heavy on the cryptocurrency discussion here tonight.
But lots of people want to talk about this stuff. I mean, it's
new.
Yes.
It's interesting.
Free Talk Live's been talking about it for many years.
Yeah. But it
may
be your first time ever hearing about it here tonight, and you picked an interesting week to encounter this particular situation with the ongoing geek war behind the scenes of Bitcoin about to come out in full view within the next couple of days. This geek war, Mark, this potential split of Bitcoin is going to result in basically people shutting down doing Bitcoin business on at least a couple of days.
Oh, yes.
Here in New Hampshire, the Bitcoin vending machines, 3 of the 4 of them are going to stop serving Bitcoin. We're not going to be selling Bitcoin because
plenty of companies are shutting down. Bitcoin companies are shutting down.
A lot of the exchanges are halting trading activity on Bitcoin, and that's because when Bitcoin forks, there are dangers that become present that normally aren't present. There's this thing called a replay attack. Double spends are possible. There's things that normally the Bitcoin network is very, very solid, protected against, that they're going to have to do some tweaks. The exchanges are going to have to put certain protections in place, and so once those protections are in place, which probably shouldn't take much longer than the day that very same day where the Bitcoin fork happens, most of the exchanges when they are making the announcements are saying they plan on being back usually within several hours. But it is a changing situation by the moment. We'll certainly continue to update you as it develops. Mark, you've got something new that you got from the folks over at bulletblocker.com. What is it?
Well, in my case, it's a vest, but there's all kinds of different garments they've got at bulletblocker.com. So what you've been able to find on the internet is there's an incredible amount of innovation and sort of garments and backpacks and things like that. And, somebody's always solving some problem or another, real or imagined. Either it's trivial or it's life-changing. I don't know. But you've seen the Kickstarters and that kind of thing. But I got a vest from bulletblocker.com that stops bullets. It's a company founded by a former Army Ranger and a firearms instructor with the goal of making backpacks to protect kids in the case of a school shooting or something like that. Well, now they have a huge selection of clothing, backpacks, and briefcases that could save your life. The products are attractive, well-made right here in the U.S., and you've got to have a nice jacket, right? You have to have a nice jacket. I don't care if you live in Florida. You have to have a nice jacket. And you might as well get one that stops bullets. Get something for the whole family, too. This isn't the kind of thing that you get a second chance at, bulletblocker.com. If the lives in your family are priceless, protect them at bulletblocker.com.
Stefan is in Ohio. He's on via Skype. Hello, Stefan.
I'd actually like to discuss activism because I know you're very passionate about this, Ian.
Sure.
Okay, I was actually going to ask Mark a question. Is Mark involved in any activism at all?
I don't know.
The show.
Hosting the #1 libertarian radio program in the world and keeping that thing financially afloat. You call that activism?
Well, what I mean is, do you go out to any events yourself in person and try to, spread the word that way, or do you just primarily do the show?
No, I do effective things. I'm not going to chase around.
Wow, that's really insulting. First of all, Daryl W. Perry is very effective at doing legislative activism. He goes up to the State House.
I'm not going to stand on the side of the road
week.
and hold a sign, dude.
Well, he didn't say that. He said, do you go out to do things? And going to the State House, which is something you have done, can be a very effective thing. We talked about the Bitcoin
Not
protection
unless you
pill.
put the dedication that Daryl puts in. So if just going in and popping in like once a year like I do, I'm not saying it's ineffective, but it's not terribly effective. And it's
people
certainly
who went
not
out
as effective as getting on the air and talking to hundreds of thousands
sure,
of
that's
people
helpful,
this evening.
but it's not getting on the air isn't going to change.
It is far more effective.
Okay, but it depends on what you're trying to affect. Okay, so no, it is not far more effective if you're trying to change the minds of the politicians who are voting on things. You can get on the air all you want. You're going to have an effect on the people listening. That's good. It's not. I'm not saying Free Talk Live is bad activism. It's great activism, no doubt about it. But the senators from New Hampshire, most of them aren't listening to our show. And so you're not going to have any effect on those people. Whereas Daryl and the others who went in, the Bitcoiners, for instance, who went in and testified, the bulk of them, by the way, from the Keene area.
Yeah, I went.
You went, yep. And others went, a bunch more. And they went and they testified, and they helped get this Bitcoin bill that I talked about earlier passed. So please don't dismiss other people's activism. It depends on what you're trying to affect, and some things are more effective at others at doing that.
I find it very demoralizing to sit in front of the
That's fine. Then don't do it. We'll take care of it for you. Go ahead, Stefan.
I think they both go hand in hand. I also find it kind of insulting, going out and actually getting things done in front of your senators or your town halls. I'd say that's more effective than just, what most people would see as a couple of kooks behind a microphone. They go hand in hand. The radio show is a way to spread the message, but it's not actually going to get things done. You have to get the people that hear the message to actually get things done.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of easy.
I wasn't intending to besmirch anyone's activism, specifically. All I was talking about was what I would do with my time. And I've stood on the side of the road with a sign here and there. But mostly when I do it for the photo op to be able to post it on the Free Talk Live page so that I can then make a point. For instance, when Keene was getting a Bearcat from Linco here, I ran a Bearcat buyback program and held a sign where I was offering a Walmart gift certificate or card, whatever those Walmart card is, for anybody who wanted to turn in a Bearcat, which is a big armored vehicle, for, some piddling little amount of money. What I was doing was, no one came, by the way, what I was doing was lampooning the government's stupid gun buyback programs, where they offer a piddling amount of money for some Saturday night specials.
So where were you going with this, Stefan?
And well, that's all wonderful. No, I wanted to touch on this more. Mark, you said that you did it for photo op. What do you mean, like publicity?
I basically did it so that I could post that on Facebook, right? Like me standing out there with a sign is how useful?
Not very. Not very.
It gets more. I don't think of it that way. You're saying I'm doing it for social media attention, not to actually get things done. That sounds kind of disrespectful to actual activists who go out.
I'm doing it for that reason.
I agree with Mark on this. You're going to be more successful if you're going to go out to protest. You can expect to not have very much of an impact because most people aren't going to notice you. Those that do, maybe some of them will, go to the website that's on your signs. It's very, very low impact, low effectiveness to go out and protest. And this is I'm speaking to you as someone who's done this countless times, so I know a thing or two about it. If somebody during that protest takes a photo, whether it's one of the protesters photographing the group or somebody else who takes a picture just because they're passing by or driving by and they're interested, and then they post that to social media and that gets spread around, then you might reach hundreds more people than you reached while you were standing on the side of the road with your message. So a good example of that is when I've stood out with the V mask on from V for Vendetta, the Guy Fawkes mask, holding a sign, people are more likely to stop, get out of their car, and come over and take a picture of me than if I'm just standing there looking like normal me. That's just not as interesting. They're more likely to share a picture of the guy in a V mask on the side of the road, which means when they share that, the people who are their friends on their social media will see the sign and see the message, and that might start a conversation. So I agree with Mark that getting people to talk about or share the in the streets activism that you do is an important thing.
Oh, yeah. What you were saying there, I'm saying as a compliment, yes, the picture works. But I think going out just for pictures, that doesn't seem to be very effective.
Well, everybody has their reasons that they do things. So let's stop indicting other people's reasons for doing activism because, anybody who's doing activism is better than somebody who's doing nothing.
I'm not sure I entirely agree with that. Sometimes activism is detrimental to the cause.
It depends on your perspective. Hang on, Stefan. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I'm still not sure where he's going with this, so we'll give him a chance to clear that up coming up in moments. Your calls are also welcome here on Free Talk Live. This is a show where you can take control of the airwaves. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. We're coming up.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash at dash.org and help build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
A great president once said, "The 9 most feared words in the English language. I am from the government and I'm here to help. Adequacy of loss absorbing capacity. You call that help? That's the mandate approved by the G20. The banks can steal your money. Well, they can't steal your gold and silver. That you fully control. You can have it delivered into an IRA at a depository under lock and key, where you can hide it where no one can find it, not even your wife. What? Sorry, honey. Your CDs, money market accounts, and savings accounts are all at risk. Call GSI Exchange at 800-474-9159. We have 75 years of market experience. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. 800-474-9159. Call now and get a free bank failure survival guide. 800-474-9159.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that, and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait, now. Wait a minute.
Holy crap.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. Enough time for you if you want to join us right now. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Ian and Mark in the studio tonight. We do have Skype as well. The Skype username is LRN.FM. In fact, that's where we're going to go back to. But I do want to let you know about the AMP program. If you like Free Talk Live and you want to help support this show, you can go to amp.freetalklive.com. You want to hear on more radio stations, Free Talk Live, talking about the ideas of liberty or cryptocurrency or peace. Well, we would love to do that. We've got over 170 radio stations right now from coast to coast. We could have more than 200, 300, 400 stations. It's possible. It just takes money to market the show effectively to those stations and convince those program directors that we're worth trying out and putting on the air. So if you want to help us with that, also help us spread the message on the internet, then please join the AMP program. You'll get perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, the new Free Talk Live badge on the new Free Talk Live forum, which is just for amplifiers. Had a couple people claim their badge today, as a matter of fact. We've had new listeners signing up on the forum. Anybody who's a listener can go to forum.freetalklive.com and interact with other listeners and some of the hosts. But if you want that special badge to identify you as a Free Talk Live amplifier, then you got to amp the show over at amp.freetalklive.com, and you get access to the AMP-only Facebook group and more. So get all the details, get signed up with any major credit card, PayPal, and Bitcoin over at amp.freetalklive.com. So, Stefan, you'd called in with a question, I think, for Mark about activism or something. I'm not sure if we even got to it.
It was going to lead into a story I'd heard about today, because whether or not I agree with protesters or activism, I do respect getting out there and trying to get your viewpoint across. And it brought to a story I heard during the inauguration of Donald Trump. Hundreds of people's phones were taken, and now those people are being put on charges because apparently these officers had managed to crack their phones, and some people may be facing 75 years in federal prison for it.
Yikes.
Have you heard about this?
No.
For what? I mean, what did they find on their phones?
Despite not having not much of anything from what I've heard, but despite not having any evidence for it, a lot of people are being accused of breaking windows, setting cars on fire, that kind of thing, and they're being charged for rioting, despite not having much evidence to accuse somebody of such.
Yeah, they can pretty much do that anytime they want. And I'm not saying it's just police. I mean, they get the flimsiest of evidence. And since the vast majority of charges in the United States never make it to a trial, they're going to result in one of two things. Either the DA drops the charges or the person's going to plea out. And the system is basically at this point rigged to the point that fair trials don't exist any longer, because you'll face charges and then they'll offer you some plea deal that's significantly less than what the results will be if you're found guilty at trial. And people, they make the economic choice in their head. They understand that, A, if they take it to trial, it's going to cost them money and lawyers and all that other stuff. They also know that juries are a bunch of boot-licking myrmidons, frankly. The results of a trial for a civilian is going to be, for felonies, it's going to be 2/3 of the time you're found guilty. Now, you would think, when it's far less than 1% of cases that make it to trial, that the people who are truly innocent are more likely, I'm not saying every case by any stretch, but they're more likely to take it to the end. Somebody says, you know what, I'm not guilty and I'm not taking a plea, and you can't make me take a plea. I still believe in this system, and I'm going to take it all the way to the end. And what happens to them? 2/3 of them are found guilty. Now, there is one situation where it's not true, that there's a situation, a class of people that 4 out of 5 times they're found not guilty. They're innocent.
The police?
Effectively. Yes. If you've got a badge and you go to trial, you're going to be 4 out of 5 times found not guilty by a jury. That same pool of morons, the bootlickers, will find you guilty if you don't have a badge. This is how I know that there are at least 2 classes of people in the United States. People say it's all about class, and it is. It's the government against you.
True. Stefan, thanks for the call tonight, man.
welcome.
I appreciate it. Let's talk to John. He's in Indianapolis listening to WIBC FM. Hello, John.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
I've heard you guys talking about Bitcoin tonight.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about Bitcoin for a lot of years now. We don't know who really came up with it.
That's correct. Satoshi Nakamoto, but nobody knows who that is.
Right. And how do you not know? And this is what we've thought about and theorized amongst ourselves. How do we not know that Bitcoin isn't a trial run for global e-currency by the government? Because why would the government allow something that's going to compete with it? They could just shut it down.
No, they couldn't.
A long time.
No, they can't shut it down.
They have to shut down the internet.
They'd have to end the entire internet.
I understand.
The internet.
Well, they control the internet, but they don't control the things on the internet, right?
Yeah.
The government can't shut down Facebook very well, but they do it a heck of a lot easier than they do.
I went to China earlier this year. Yes, they can shut down.
Yeah, but China can't shut down Bitcoin. There are plenty of countries out there that have tried.
I hear the argument that you say that it can't be done, but it seems kind of preposterous.
Well, I don't know why. I mean, yes, they can shut down the internet. Yes, they can shut down individual websites. But Bitcoin is a decentralized ledger on many.
They're not trying to attack it at all. How do you know it's not a government test run?
So let me rebut that. I'll do my best. Now, I'm going to only do my best here. There's no way to say who did what, right? First off, if the government wanted to create a test run, like you said, why would they create a mysterious anonymous person to have created it instead of just saying, this cyberpunk that we arrested is the one who did it? Like, why wouldn't they have somebody that they could point at? Right? I mean, that would be that would make a lot more sense. Secondly,
why wouldn't they?
Well, okay, because
people
ask questions about. mystery folks.
I think that's the wrong point.
Okay,
Mark.
let me go on. There are there's decades worth of information on these forums, these cryptography forums, talking about wanting to create a currency, how they would go about doing it, trial runs at Bitcoin, failures, doing it over and over again. Satoshi Nakamoto comes on the scene, creates something. Now these are little side eddies of the internet where nobody was going. It seems very unlikely. And then Bitcoin was basically unheard of for 2 years until it started getting the whole pizza situation where it created some value, and then slowly it came into being. The government's taken trial runs at creating an international currency. But why would they go in this weird, circuitous fashion would be my question. It seems like the worst way to do it.
Look at the global government. They're doing a lot of weird, crazy things. I mean, they kill people. People disappear. Why wouldn't they make a fictitious
Why wouldn't they
thing?
kill us?
Okay, hold on. You're wrong. Okay,
Free Talk Live was the first.
Let me just make my point. Let me make my point here. I mean, there's a lot less resistance if people think the government isn't involved in it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, so here's my response. I think Mark's responses were poor. My response on this is that the government, first of all, they suck at everything that they try to do for the most part. So the idea that the government could come up with the world's most brilliant...
They took down the Shah of Iran.
The idea that the government could come up with the world's most brilliantly programmed, efficient, amazing, cryptocurrency, the world's first. Now others may be more efficient since then, but this thing is preposterous, number one. But number two, here's the real reason why it's not the government, because it's an open source project. Anybody who wants to can go in there and they can read the code. Any programmer who knows how to, read code can go in there and audit Bitcoin, and it has been audited to death. There's no kind of backdoor in there. They really have. If it was the government, they created their own currency's killer. Bitcoin is the most effective form of money that we have seen. It is such a paradigm shift in what money is, taking money out of the hands of the state and the banks and putting it into the hands of the people. Government has no interest in doing anything like that. Government has an interest in control, and Bitcoin releases their control. There's no control that the government has over Bitcoin. They are desperate to try to control it, but they cannot do it. So why they would put themselves into that position is, an absurd question. Thanks for the call tonight. I wish we had more time to hear from you, but you're welcome to call any other night and continue the conversation. John, thanks for making it here. If you didn't get in tonight, that's okay. We'll be back tomorrow for the live Sunday edition of the show. We're on from 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time. If you need to know our live hours, those are them. And between now and then, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and you can join us online over at freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement, and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
The live edition of Off the Air Live is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, July 29th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.75 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,269 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 6.1 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,747. Antiwar.com reports after several months of warning they'd retaliate if the U.S. kept making hostile moves, Russia on Friday did so, seizing a pair of U.S. diplomatic properties and ordering the U.S. Embassy in Russia to reduce its staff to 455 by September. The sites are both in Moscow. Russia is giving the United States until Tuesday, August 1st, to be out of those two sites. This is more or less retaliation for the move in December, in which the Obama administration seized a pair of vacation houses owned by the Russian Embassy in the United States. Russia at the time said they were holding off retaliation, hoping the Trump administration would have a change of heart and return the properties. They did not. The cap of 455 embassy staff appears to be a significant reduction, though exactly how many that amounts to is not totally clear. Russia is not singling out specific people who have to leave, but has complained recently that there are too many U.S. spies in Moscow with embassy credentials. Some are speculating this could expel in excess of 100 embassy staffers and is retaliation to both the U.S. expulsion of Russian embassy staffers back in December and a growing array of U.S. sanctions against Russia. The U.S. Embassy issued a statement saying they had expressed strong disappointment and protest to the Russian